Hello, everybody. It's Friday night, and that means it's time once again for Heavy Metallurgy. My name is Alan. I'm getting everything muted here and set up, ready to go. And yeah, we're ready for another fun evening of hanging out, talking about the music that we all love. And it, of course, would not work if it were not for my excellent co-host over here to my side, Marty. Marty, how you doing tonight, man?
You're too kind. It would still work just fine. But it's good to be here. Decent week. Hope you've had a good week as well. Good to see you. And yeah, nothing new to report. Old and boring.
Well, sometimes boring's okay. It's
Yep.
been a busy week here. We've kind of gotten the kids off campus, gotten everyone squared away and graduated and such. So maybe we can kind of start to settle into the summer routine officially a little bit. Looking forward to that. Also looking forward to tonight because we've got a really cool guest who has not been on the show in a while, and he came up with a pretty cool topic that we're going to dive into here in just a minute or two. But before we do that, Marty, I think you've got a little merch that you want to show off to folks.
Little merch indeed. 3 inches. It's not cold in here. It's just the size of it. So 3 inches.
That's what she said.
3-inch diameter patches for your battle jackets, your vests, your leather, or whatever. Adhesive on the back for those who can't sew, which I'm among those poorly afflicted people. And yeah, Heavy Metallurgy patches, link in the description. Go check out our Discord server, link in the description for that as well. Lots of fun. I have not been on it much this week. I've fallen behind and haven't had anything new to report, and I've just been distracted by other things. But awesome group of people in there. I check in every day. They're chatting all day long. So go check out the server. Very cool. You all make it awesome. And yeah, without further ado, let's get this guy in here. Dennis from Analog Archives is back on the show. Good to see you, man. How you doing?
Guys? Good. How are you guys?
Good.
Doing pretty good. Pretty good. Busy week, but yeah, not too bad. What's new in Dennis's world?
Not much, man. Just like I said, buying more records, listening to a lot of stuff. Not really doing YouTube. I just really haven't had the calling to do a new video. I have a couple things planned. I just time-wise is always an issue for me, or motivation.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I think we all go through phases where like, yeah, we'll make a bunch of content, and then you hit periods where you're just not into it, and that's quite okay.
And I see people like making content every day, and I'm like, geez, man, how do you do this? Like, that's crazy.
We've been on that road here the last couple of weeks, but not this week. This week is a little bit more sparse, but it's a lot. It takes a minute to get it all together. But yeah, no, it's but the good thing about Analog Archives, you've got a wealth of content there, so much killer shit and years of knowledge you're sharing with the folks. So hey, I'm sure there's something they've missed. Definitely dig into the back catalog for sure.
Yeah, I surpassed 3,000 subscribers though, so that's cool.
Very
that
cool.
was a while ago, but
that rules.
Like I said, yeah. I mean, I need to make more stuff, and it's surprising how much like messages I get. Like, dude, can you please make more videos? Please make more videos. And I'm like, I will try, man. I will. But I'm not going to make a video like every week. So, but yeah, there's more stuff to come. Definitely, Analog Archives is going to have more shit. So.
I enjoyed the after the move, the what's in the box episodes.
Oh, those are cool. I still have way more boxes. I should do more of those. Those are fun.
They're just even if you don't fill a box. Yeah. What's it? Yeah. Yep. Well, one of the caveats for people jumping on the show, we usually extend the courtesy of them suggesting a topic, since Alan and I, we could probably come up with topics every week, but it's nice to have the guests come on and feel passionate about what we're going to talk about for the night. And what did you suggest, Dennis? What are we talking about tonight?
I was suggesting pummeling records that pummel you, just like records. And it doesn't have to be anything. I didn't want to pigeonhole it to like, this has to be a full length from, 88 to 94, whatever it is. It's just whatever you in your life have listened to a record. And when you put it on, you're just like, holy shit, man, this thing just crushes me.
Still, after all these years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think we all have those records. One record that made me think of this I was listening to, and I'm like, geez, man, this thing it's like a jackhammer. That'll be my first record I show, but that's what kind of gave me the idea. It was just like, man, I have and then when I started going through my records, like, oh, let's see, like, what I'm pulling out, like, by the tens, I'm like, okay, well, this one. So it's cool to like go into these kind of streams and like look through your collection and see what you have and listen to them. You know what I mean? Like pull those records and listen to them again. And if you haven't in a while, and see if they still pummel you.
Yeah.
I like the way you left this pretty open-ended too, because you even mentioned like we're not even necessarily sticking to metal here. There can be things from non-metal genres that just absolutely flatten you when you hear them, and I'm sure we'll see some examples of that along the way tonight too. And to be clear, we're not either just sticking to like the most brutal slam. We're not doing 3 hours of slam picks here either.
But you could if you wanted.
Somebody could, absolutely. I don't think this is the right crew or the right channel for a nonstop slamathon, but that would be another direction to go for it. And we may see a few examples of that along the way tonight too. But yeah, I thought it was a cool topic, and it sounds very niche at first, but when you stop and think about it, it's like, no, there's a lot of different things you could pull into this. So yeah, really cool idea.
For sure. And I've got a humongous stack of stuff here. I'm sure we all do. And Dennis, why don't we just jump right into this headlong and get the ball rolling? What you got for your first pull?
So this is the one that made me think of doing this. I put this on, and it's like nonstop through the whole record. Baffle me, the Dead shall inherit.
You ever seen them? I saw them once. One show. I saw them.
Jeez. I put this on, man, and I'm just like, dude, this record is just a fucking banger. Like, it doesn't let up. It's very groove laden. It does have a lot of chugga chugga riffs for sure.
Oh yeah.
But it does what it does that Banished doesn't do. I feel like Banished after this is more chugga chugga throughout the whole record. This one will stop and it'll have rhythms and blast beats, where the Banished doesn't really have that. So it kind of mixes it up, and this record it pounds your fucking head off, man.
Yep.
Non-stop death metal, the way it should be played. Just a fucking. And I had the EP before I had this, so I already knew of this band. But man, this record, the production on this as well, and the tone, everything about this record, it's just straight up like pummeling death metal, man.
Yep.
90s death metal on Peaceville when Peaceville was still good. This is a shit.
That guy, the lead singer, I've never seen a person headbang. I mean, it was like a full half body bang. It was just like he'd come up and his face would be beat red from just going for it so hard. It looked like he was going to pass out. Totally killer shit. Great.
Yeah, man.
Michigan Death Fest, the first Michigan Death Fest back in 89 or 90. I don't know.
How was the sound?
Good. Surprisingly. Yeah. I was right up on the stage though. And I was there to see Sacrifice. I had never heard Morbid Angel, never heard Baphomet, never heard Nuclear Death, never heard Deceased. I'm just like a thrash kid walking into this death metal centric. In fact, Sacrifice was the least good band on the roster. I was just blown away by like, holy shit, I have to get all this stuff. My buddy bought a Zombified Preachers of Gore demo in the line to get in the door. I mean, it was just like that. I got a Morticious demo waiting to get in. Some guys like, you want to buy a Morticious demo? I'm like, $5, sure. And that shit fucking ruled. But yeah, fun times, good stuff.
Nope, good, killer.
Yeah, great start. I haven't spun that in a hot minute. Ellen, how about you?
All right, I want to start on Planet Obvious with one of the albums that always comes to mind as soon as people talk about this kind of sheer nonstop brutality front to back. We're going with Marduk.
That's in my stack too. Cool.
Panzer. I figured, I'd be surprised if it wasn't in everybody's stack. But yeah, Panzer Division Marduk. Everyone knows this album, so I won't drag on too long about it. But came out in '99, and it just kind of felt like that was the right time for it. It was their 6th album. They'd built up to it. Lots of good albums before it, but for this one, they definitely kicked it into another gear. And just having it come out there right at the end of the century when everybody was, starting to get into their Y2K panic mode and all of that stuff. and just having this come out and just, absolutely annihilate everything. I mean, it's just unapologetic, short, sharp, punch you in the face the whole time. And to wrap up, with one of the best song titles of all time in Fist Fucking God's Planet. That kind of just tells you everything you need to know about this album. You don't put a song on your album with that title unless you mean business. And that's exactly what this album does. I saw Marduk around this time. I don't know if it was this tour or if it was their next tour cycle, because I don't remember exactly which year I saw them. But yeah, it was cool to get to see them live. Not a lot of bands of that style ever came to the southeastern US, but they did make a stop. And yeah, this isn't something that you need to take out and play over and over on a daily basis. But when you do just want that absolute blast of annihilation, Panzer Division Marduk is a good one to get it done with.
Good pick. Big, dumb, speed, catchy though. They maintain super catchy, memorable shit. It's just silly but awesome.
It is kind of over the top, to the point where it almost gets goofy, but it still works. And if Rick hasn't already said it in the chat, it's got a tank on the cover. It's good.
Yep. All
okay,
right,
Marty, let's see what you've got on top of your stack here.
Picking for tonight, I'm picking a lot of shit. I'm like, it's a lot of stuff I've picked for the album club. So I tried to veer after I was just like blindly, this kill. I'm like, oh shit. So I tried to veer away into some newer, some older, but these are in no particular order, but let's just fire off Essex Misery Index. Man, this shit. In fact, I was listening to this while I was pulling records, and it just absolutely crushes. It's a dense production, absolutely killer grind from the US. I think this was this the one recorded by Scott Burns? I don't know. I don't remember. It might have been Annie Capital. I don't remember which one.
I do not remember.
Yeah, this is a band that, they had a small footprint, but they played a lot of shows, and it would have been really cool to see them. They played through Detroit. I had some friends. In fact, there's a video on YouTube, them playing in Detroit, and both my buddies are standing there leaning up against the amps like, hey, they're like, kind of like this, the crowd was circling them and just absolutely crushing. What a great band. This is the type of grind I typically gravitate towards. It's maybe more metalized than punk, but there's still a good union here. Just a good dense sound. Killer on Sound Pollution Records. Awesome band.
Yeah.
Crushing.
Fucking really.
All right.
All right. Well, I guess I'll go with you on that one, and I'll do this one.
Yeah.
Man, dude, back to back, these fucking records smoke.
Mm-hmm.
I actually got to see him on this tour. Well, I don't know if it was really a tour, but I got to see him at Gilman in Berkeley, California. I can't remember who they played with. Probably Newth Grush and Man is a Bastard or something like that.
That's not a bad deal.
No, but man, I was listening to this today again. It just never lets up, and it's so good. The songs are super catchy, super brutal, and just grindcore like it's supposed to be. And that's hard to do. Like in today's age, it's hard to do a real grindcore record. Back then, it was easy because you didn't have anything to follow.
Yeah.
Besides like Napalm Death or something like that. But,
yep.
Yeah, and this one's on Common Cause, license from Sound Pollution as well. But yeah, man, both of those records, massive bangers for me, and yeah, very, very pummeling.
Pummeling. All right, Alan.
All right. Well, Logan is in the chat, Metal and Beer Snob. So cheers to him.
What's up, Logan?
And I already messaged him and said that, my second pick would be one for him. I pulled something he had recommended, I don't know, a couple of years ago, maybe at this point. And it definitely fits the topic. Not a band I know a ton about. This is the only album I've heard by them, but they're out of Denver. And we'll check in the date. Yeah, this one came out in 2017. Yeah, 2017. It is Caustic by Primitive Man. sludge is definitely, Logan's territory, more so than mine. I
And
don't have
mine.
anything against it, but it's just not, a style I've dug into.
Yep.
When this stuff was popular, it was kind of a period where I just wasn't as tuned into new releases in heavy metal. So I kind of missed this scene a little bit. But yeah, I'd done an episode at some point over on Let's Talk Metal about, extremely heavy bands. Not pummeling necessarily, but just like, the heavier, I think I may have called it like Heavier Than Thou or something. Yeah, and this was one of the albums that Logan mentioned in the comments on that video. He says, like, this album is just ridiculously heavy. So I'm like, I'm pretty sure I've seen that in the used bin at one of the local stores.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. And Jesus, it really, really is. I mean, it's got, the typical, dissonance and harshness you expect, in a sludge act. This one just comes across as especially hateful in the delivery. Every vocal line just sounds like this person's about to explode in rage, and not like, Hulk out or something, but just like literally seething mad to the point that they're just, their face is going to explode or something. But they don't do it. It's not slam. They're not, going a million miles an hour or anything. If anything, it's actually a pretty slow paced heaviness. I was replaying this, over the past couple of days after we came up with the topic with Dennis, and my final thought, I was like, this is an album that sounds like it wants to beat you to death with its fists, but it wants to do it very slowly. It's not going to it's not trying to snap your neck with like one punch or something. It wants to sit there and just slowly pound your skull into the asphalt until there's nothing left to identify but the teeth. And it's going to take its time. Not the kind of thing I'm going to listen to, on it again, all that often. But when you're in the mood for something that fits this topic, where it's just, crushingly pummeling you. Primitive Man, Caustic. Logan was spot on with the description of it. It is just an insanely heavy record. And again, I like having it on the shelf because it's a little different for me, not a genre that's well represented in my collection. So it's a cool one to go to when I'm in the mood for that style. So a big cheers and thanks to Logan for recommending that one, because it's not something I would ever have really stumbled into on my own. Definitely needed someone to point me in the direction of this one. Marty, Dennis, Dennis sounds like you're familiar with them.
Yeah.
Nope. I've heard of them. I've never heard them. Again, sludge is something I don't dislike, but I never gravitate to that for some reason. I've got Grief. I've got some of the old classic shit, but
yeah, I mean, I've got a couple of others too, like, the Acid Bath I like a lot. They kind of fall on that, but they Acid Bath's got kind of a weird, almost, psychedelic take on sludge, which is one reason I like it a lot. But there's nothing psychedelic about Primitive Man. It's like you rock, die.
Right.
All right. Well, Carnivore's Retaliation.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, good pick.
Angry neurotic Catholics. Oh my God, that I suffered from depression. The anger burns within. What do I gain for all my pain? Perhaps a seat in heaven. I love it. It just kicked my ass. Crossover album. Yeah, for those who don't know, Peter Steele obviously went on to be Typo Negative. Yeah, and it's just one of those records. He was in the New York hardcore scene back in the day. He wrote some lyrics for Agnostic Front on Victim. No, not Victim in Pain. Oh shit. The full length. I can't remember, with the red demon on it. I don't know. Anyway. So he was definitely grounded in the New York hardcore. So here we go. That is definitely all over this here, but of course more of a metal backbone as well. So yeah, definite crossover. I love the aggression of it. The lyrics that today would have burned him down probably before this even hit the airwaves. But for the 80s when this came out, 87, absolute classic. I like the debut as well, but I prefer this one. This is the one. This is the first one I heard.
There's
What's
not a record that sounds like this record.
No, it's great.
Nope.
Absolutely crushing. And again, good crossover. There's going to be some of that in my stack tonight.
Yep.
Question,
Mine too.
Marty, just out of curiosity, why do you prefer that one over the self-titled? I'm curious because for me it's the other way around. You know, they're both cool, but I tend to prefer the self-titled. But I don't have a ton of history with the band either. You probably have known them a lot longer than I have.
I never saw the debut in my Camelot. This one came in. I bought it on tape, and I heard the Nuclear War song, Nuclear Wars 3 and 4 or whatever on the debut. I didn't get the debut until the last year. Last year I bought that record for the first time, and I listened to it. I really like it, but I've got so much nostalgia, and I got this around when it came out, so it's like many years on the school bus with my Walkman on the way to school going, fuck yeah. So, or no, 87. Was I driving at that point? No, maybe. Yeah, I was. Either way, it was in the tape deck, either on the bus or in my piece of shit truck. So it was, I don't know, just connected with this one. I don't know that the debut was more punk, was more hardcore, was it? I've only listened to it a couple times.
I think it was that way a little more, but yeah. But not a ton. I mean, it makes sense if you have a lot more history with the other. But Dennis, what do you think of these two? How do you weigh them out, Dennis?
So I got the debut first before I heard this one, and it didn't really catch me as like a great record. I felt like it was more like I lumped them in with like bands like At War, where it was just this kind of
campy as shit.
Cheesy concept where At War was more war, and these guys were more like, Mad Max. They were like wearing like these weird
furs,
outfits on the back cover, like this apocalyptic world, which I thought was cool. I just didn't think the songs were that great on the first record. They didn't catch me. Whereas when I heard this, the second record, I was like, wow, this is really good. Like there was a big progression, and I felt like it was a lot angrier than the first record, which it probably was. The lyrics are really bad though. And then you got Pizza and Beer, where he's just barfing for
yeah.
But when I was a kid, I thought that was awesome. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. And the lyrics were just like, so anti, PC, even though it wasn't really PC at the time. But even then, the lyrics are pretty unacceptable, I guess, even at the time.
Yeah. I mean, they're obviously meant to be very tongue in cheek, but a lot of people miss that too, of course. On both, some people take it too seriously, thinking, oh, he's serious, that's horrible. And other people take it like, oh, he's serious, that's fucking awesome. It's just like, you're both wrong. It's not supposed to be that serious in the first place.
It just depends on my day. Like if I listen to the first record, sometimes I like it more than the second, but it differs, man. For me though, they're both good records. I'm not a big Typo guy. I like the first record, but I'm not. I rarely listen to it. But they're good. Yeah, I love Carnivore, but like I said, I think the second record's a lot more. I think it's more musically, not acceptable, but for me, what I was listening to at the time, it fit into what I was listening to, so it made sense to me.
Yeah,
and it was really kind of hateful and stuff like that. It was kind of like a kind of S.O.D. type of lyrics, type of stuff.
Somebody just mentioned "Speak English or Die." In the chat.
There you go. I almost pulled S.O.D. honestly, but
it would make sense.
After did you guys see that Billy Milano interview that just came up?
I've just seen clips from it. I haven't sat down and watched the whole thing yet.
Dude, I watched the whole thing. That guy's off the rails, man.
It's on my to-do list this week. Well, maybe
you gotta watch it. Yeah. Text me what you think of it after you watch it, because man, it's very entertaining, but he does not like the guys in Anthrax.
No, he's talking about when he was signing autographs. I saw the clip where he was signing autographs, and Scotty Ian went, "No, I'm eating a sandwich. I can't do it.
I'm busy. I'm busy."
So he brought all the people on the bus, and it was pretty funny. Yeah.
Hey, Scott, sign his fucking autograph.
Yeah, it's gonna be one to watch. He's definitely a loose cannon, but
Yep. That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. There's a funny story going back to the Carnivore for just a second before we move on. There's a funny story about Dennis. You mentioned like, yeah, them having like, the crazy like fur and, spikes and football pads and all that. Apparently when they were first making their costumes, the fur from that, I think it was one of Pete's sisters had like a kind of like an antique mink stole of a thing. Like one of these old things had been handed down from like her grandmother or something, but she didn't really like it that much. And so she gave it to them, to basically, chop up and destroy for, to add to their costume thing. So it wasn't just like, some random, chunk of, rug or something they pulled out of a trash can. It was actually like, antique, fur stole, like probably an expensive piece of clothing.
It looks like an Italian post-apocalyptic movie on the back.
Oh yeah, very much so.
Rip-off movie. I also like the back cover where they're like with the garbage truck. They just look like sanitation workers.
Yeah,
which and he was like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, this guy just like throws garbage away, and also he's in this band. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right,
good deal.
Dennis, you're up.
All right, dude. This is gonna be a different pick, but man, these first two songs on this record just fucking bust my balls every time I listen to it. I'm going Realm, Endless Pain.
It's the Eleanor Rigby cover, isn't it?
One of the best covers. But Endless War and Slay the Oppressor fucking rip, dude. Mm-hmm. The vocals are just like, it's like Geddy Lee getting his balls chopped off.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of Death Angel I hear on this as well.
I saw them tour with Death Angel and Forbidden, Twisted into Form.
It makes sense, man. Yeah. A lot of Death Angel.
They opened.
But just speed it up. Fucking ripping speed thrash on this. And this record just rips, man. I almost didn't pull this record, but I just kept listening to it. I'm like, man. And it's so like out there, like the bass is everywhere. There's like, I mean, it's like Watchtower and Death Angel and fucking those kind of bands, man, mixed in with like I said, Rush. There's a lot of Rush on this as well, but speed it up massively. This record gets not enough love, honestly, in my opinion. I get it. Like there's Toxic and stuff. Like I'm not a big Toxic fan. I like this a lot better than that. But this shit rips. Just fucking pummeling, especially the first two songs. But it gets a little more power metal-ish, like for like a few songs, and then it goes back to that speed metal thrash stuff, which is really killer. Definitely check this band out if you guys haven't checked out this. Fucking ripper, man.
Yep. No, that's a good pull, Dennis. And you're right. I think one reason it maybe doesn't get quite as much attention. Well, I mean, all jokes about the cover song. The cover song really does let the wind out of the sails there in the middle of that record.
It's so weird.
It really is. But the other thing I think that holds it back, it's not a bad thing, but I think one reason it has trouble getting traction, as you described, the album's a little all over the place, which is cool in a way, but it also kind of feels like they had a little trouble picking a lane, and they're just like, well, why not do all the genres at once? And it's a little overwhelming until you get used to it. So I can see some people hearing it, just being like, whoa, I don't know where this is trying to go. And
it's
I think
super overwhelming. When I listen to this record, it is very overwhelming and very anxiety driven, man. But it's super tight. It's super tight, especially if you're listening to it multiple times. You catch a lot of things. It's not a first time listen record.
Yeah.
No. No, the first time you hear it, it's more of a what the fuck kind of moment.
Right.
All right, Alan.
Okay, let's see. This one is, Jack Half a Prayer's in the chat. Good to see you, Jack. And this is a band Jack recommended last year. And Jack tends to have really good taste in metal, so I'll usually check out stuff. Doesn't always work out, but I've liked some of the stuff that he recommended quite a bit. So check this band out. And this is a very, very heavy, dense band. And I'm going to admit up front, I haven't really quite gotten my head wrapped around them yet, but I'm still working at it. The band's out of Canada. They're called Mitochondrion. Now, Jack recommended the album. He was talking about them last year because they had a new album come out, but I came across a copy of their debut, which is called Archaeon. Might be butchering that just a tad. And just, one of those things, flipping through stuff in a store. And I saw that, this is not an album cover that would have made me stop for any reason. But with the name, I'm just like, wait a second. I think that's the band Jack was talking about a couple of weeks ago. So I, checked on Metallurgy. I was like, yep, that's the band. Okay, let's pick it up and give it a try. Very heavy stuff. Again, it's not that they're trying to play super fast all the time, or they're not trying to be ultra slam or anything like that, but it's just a very heavy, dark, dense sound. So a bit difficult for me to penetrate through that. One thing that's interesting about it is, there are moments and passages in songs where they'll back off on that a little bit. They'll give it some space to breathe. And so you feel like, okay, starting to, see how this is coming together. But then they'll just go right back into it. And again, it's just like getting hit with a brick wall of sound. It's like, okay, they gave you just enough air before kind of, grabbing your head and forcing you back under. So it's interesting. I don't dislike it. I just haven't really quite solved it yet. And maybe with an album like this, you don't. But it's been an interesting one to check out. It's one of these I'm played a couple of times, and then kind of feel like I have to set it aside, digest it for a bit. A month or two later, give it a couple more spins. So I'm slowly working on it. But Mitochondrion, extremely heavy, dark, and dense is how I would kind of sum this one up. I previewed the newest album on like Bandcamp at one point, and it seems like it's kind of in general doing the same thing. I'm sure they've evolved some once you get into the nuances, but if you're looking for a more challenging listen in something that's really, really pummeling, and you don't want the Eleanor Rigby cover in the Realm album, the Mitochondrion album might be something to, go to expert mode on and see if you can make heads or tails of it faster than I can. So, thanks for the recommendation to Jack. It's been an interesting one to work on, but I'm still working on it.
All right. Well, this is a band I like their first 3 albums quite a bit. They all kind of sound-wise are different from each other, but when this one came out, it kind of blew me away. Cryptic Slaughter's Stream of Consciousness.
Yeah.
This thing, it sounds like it was recorded in a garage, which for the music they're doing, it's kind of the right fit for me. Money Talks was a bit too polished. I still like it. Good album. I still like it. It's just too slick. Convicted, probably about right. But this thing here, it just raw as hell, borderline grind blasts, short songs. That guy doing that with, ouch. A lot of jumping going on at these shows, but every song on here just rips. It's really good, aggravated crossover, maybe leaning a little bit more into hardcore and the punk side, but there's a definite metal crunch to this stuff. You got 2 long hairs in the band, so that right there tells you there's going to be maybe a little more weight being thrown around in some of the riffs. But this is just a great speeding record. After this, the lineup changed. Speak Your Piece. I remember my buddy bought that on tape. He got to it before I did, and man, at the time I was glad. That thing sucked. I need to revisit it. I might like it now, but
you're gonna like it.
I'm gonna like it.
Yeah, it's like Cryptic Slaughter mixed with Voivod.
Yeah. See, at the time I'm like, what the hell? Because this was like
different, but it's good, man.
But didn't the guys move up to the Portland area or something? They were in Wehrmacht or Sweaty Nipples or something.
They did. I think. Well, I don't think they were part of Spastic Blur, but I know Wehrmacht was.
Yeah. Well, definitely check out Cryptic Slaughter Stream of Consciousness. It's raw as shit. Like I said, it sounds like it was recorded in a small, moldy garage, and it just rips.
It was recorded in a beer vat.
Was it really?
It says it on the back, or it's somewhere in the lighter notes. It's recorded in like a big, like a empty beer vat.
Well, it sounds like it.
It does.
It sounds like it. not a good way. But I mean, it fits the spirit of the album. You can hear everything. It sounds raw and live, which is great. So yeah, good ass kicker. Always got me fired up whenever I put that thing on, for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna go with another fucking classic. DRI, Dirty Rotten LP.
Nice.
This record, jeez, man. I remember getting this when I was a kid. Obviously, origins of grindcore here with blast beats. 25 songs on this, and like, I think it's like 24 minutes or something like that. There's songs on here that are 18 seconds, 45 seconds, 26 seconds. You got such great songs. I Don't Need Society is one of the longer songs at 1 minute and 15 seconds. Reaganomics, 40 seconds. Just bang, just straight up ripping fucking hardcore. Origins of grindcore here. All the bands were listening that went on to be grindcore bands or power violence bands. Listen to this. I like Dealing With It a little bit better, but this thing just pummels your fucking head in. It's nonstop. It doesn't have slow spots. I mean, you got slow spots in Dealing With It. This one does not. It just goes for the throat, the whole thing. And this was originally a 7-inch on 33. First came out. I looked it up today to see if I could just get the 7-inch, but it's like $400 and something. So
oh my god,
guess not. I'll be happy with this. I actually lost this record when I was a kid. I traded it. I didn't lose it. I traded it to one of the guys I traded with in Canada, and then I found it at a flea market for $2. So I finally got the record back like years ago. But man, I was so stupid to trade this thing. But yeah, man, just a fucking straight up banger. Never gets old. I listen to it again. It just is fucking amazing record.
Good shit. All right, Alan.
All right, I'll jump over into hardcore territory for a minute. I think this is the only one I got to show on the phone tonight. 'Cause oddly, I don't have. Well, I have a physical copy of this, but it's like in a box set, so it's kind of weird. But Misfits, Earth AD. This, of course, it's kind of the last thing they did before the classic lineup fell apart. And on this one, they really dropped all their more melodic side. That was always a big part of their sound. And they just kind of went into, pure hardcore mode. This album is just, non-stop going straight for the throat. Tracks like, Demonomania. There's none of those 50s inspired catchy, hooks or anything in the choruses or anything. This is just, Glenn barking it out like a rabid pit bull pretty much as fast as he can to keep up. In essence, it's a weird album for Misfits. It does not fit with the other stuff in their catalog well. But yeah, it definitely fits the topic here tonight. Almost every song is just really, really straightforward, hardcore vibes to it. Not exactly sure why the band went in this direction. There's always been stories that at this point, Doyle was fully on board, and there's been accusations that he couldn't play the more intricate stuff. That basically this was about all he could play. I have no idea if there's any truth to that or not. Again, there's already a lot of tensions in the band with Glenn kind of wanting out. Glenn may have been keeping more of the atmospheric stuff for knowing that he was already kind of one foot out the door, heading to start another project. Not really sure, but yeah, it's just, if you're only familiar with, Walk Among Us, stuff from like Static Age, and then you hear this, it really is one of those moments of just like, what the hell is happening here? It's not that it's bad at all, but yeah, it's just very, very atypical for them. Much more brutal sounding, much more just pure hardcore in sound. Misfits always had their own look, their own vibe, and their own sound. But on this one, they kind of really just fit into what hardcore was doing by around 83, which is just absolutely smash things in the mouth with your fist as hard as you can and don't look back. So it's not my favorite Misfits material. I'm a huge Misfits fan. This one, again, is maybe sometimes a little bit too straightforward. I like the other stuff better. But yeah, if you want to hear the Misfits, just absolutely pound someone's skull in, this is the album to do it with. So, Dennis, what do you think of this one compared to the rest of their catalog?
So for me, like when I heard this record, I was like, now that's what I thought the Misfits were going to sound like.
Oh, okay.
Because before that, I had Legacy of Brutality, and I was like, what is this? This isn't what I thought Misfits were going to be.
Makes
and
sense.
Like a lot of other kids, I only listened to Misfits because I saw Metallica wearing their shirts when I was a kid. So I was like, oh, this band's got to be like holy grail of punk, right? And then you get these like Elvis inspired like doo-wop songs, and I'm like, what is this garbage? Like this isn't what I want to listen to. But then I heard Earth AD, and I'm like, now this is what I thought Misfits were going to sound like. Love that record. Probably my favorite Misfits record. Walk Among Us, I love as well. But I like Legacy of Brutality now. It just, when I was younger, it just wasn't what I wanted to hear.
If you didn't know what it was coming and you were just looking at it as like, this, cool, heavy band everyone's talking about from, metal and hardcore, then Legacy of Brutality is a horrible place to start.
Right. But, then I got over that as I got older. With getting the Sam Haines stuff and stuff like that, it all clicked for me. But at the time, Earth AD was the shit. Probably still my favorite Misfits record. I just like I like the sound of it. The production's like kind of not great, but the guitar has this kind of reverby kind of crunchiness to it that I really like about it. And it just
sounds like a train wreck.
It sounds
but that fits it really well.
It just sounds like something that they practiced maybe 3 or 4 times and then went into the studio. And we're like,
3 or 4, you might be rounding up there a little bit.
Right? But yeah, man, it's a great record. But I like all the early Misfits stuff. I don't really get into anything after Danzig era. But for me,
I think a lot of people stop. I don't mind the first reunion era, but after that,
that album's okay. That's probably their best one after Danzig.
That's just okay. But once what was his name? The drummer Dr. Chud, something. Once he had left, and then they started having to bring in folks like Dez Cadena and stuff. Nothing against Dez whatsoever, but no, he did not work. And Jerry trying to sing for the Misfits is just an abomination in the world of God. That should never happen.
I'll bring this back again to the Billy Milano interview because he talks about Metallica and Anthrax at CBGB's watching Agnostic Front because Cliff liked the Misfits. So they went to go see Agnostic Front and they were about to get their ass kicked by a bunch of skins. And supposedly Billy saved them and was like, no, you guys are cool. Like, I got you guys. So
very cool.
Pretty cool.
All right. Let's do this. A little bit of a change up here. I've got so much old thrash here. Let's do something a little more modern, I guess. Finland's Azagal or Azagal, I don't know however you say that, with their album Omega.
Yeah, okay.
This thing always kicked my ass. It's blasting like the cacophonous blast attack of early Immortal, like pure Holocaust. So there's that vibe to it, but the riffs are just solid. But they go into these really hooky, kind of rocky type of, it's a Finnish thing, man. They got a little bit of rock mixed in with their black metal. This album, I've got all their shit. Just one of those bands I just glommed onto and always found something good on every album. But this one always stands out. The cover is fucking sick, silly and sick. But this is a band that just works really well with speed. They use it effectively and they know when to break away and throw in a riff, an earworm type of riff. So yeah, this is another one I was spinning leading up to this week saying, man, this has got to be on the show tonight. It's just probably one of their faster albums. It's just well mixed with straight up aggression and earworm riffs. Like I said, good stuff. Harsh vocals. Narcath, or however you say his name, he's just been an institution of putting this stuff out and all been good. He's got a good ear for making this stuff.
I don't know that band. I've seen the name, but I never knew anything about him.
Yeah. I've seen the record, but I have never listened to it, I don't think.
Check it out.
I know the cover for sure.
Yeah. All right, Dennis.
All right, we all knew this was coming. Probably weren't expecting this record, but for me, this is my favorite. The Godfish.
That's my favorite too. That and
Yeah.
Selfless are my two favorites.
No, this record fucking just pummels your fucking head.
Yep, great stuff.
It is just crushing. Avalanche Master Song, Veins, Godhead. Dude, man, when I heard Street Cleaner, I thought this was going to be. I heard Street Cleaner first, so I thought this record wasn't going to be as good. And then I heard this, and I'm like, I think I like this better than Street Cleaner, actually.
It's less noise. There's less noise treatments on it. It's just more song oriented, but it's still just pummeling, 100%.
Yeah. And I do think this has more of a traditional, almost Nietzsche Ebb type of industrial sound to it.
Yep.
Not as guitar heavy. The guitars are kind of low in the mix, where the bass is way up there.
Mm-hmm.
Which works for this record because the bass is super heavy on this. Head of David, Justin Broderick on guitars on this.
Mm-hmm.
Is he playing guitars on this? I think so.
Yeah. Justin Broderick. Yeah. And singing.
And I was reading something too about how people thought he was playing drums because he played drums in Head of David. But
that is an Alesis HR-16 drum machine. I know because my first death metal band used that too because we couldn't find a drummer. We got the same drum machine Godflesh used.
Yeah, man, it's so good, and the guitar sound is killer too. It just really good stuff, and it's really desolate sounding. It's really depressing almost. But just a great crushing record. You put this on, crank up your fucking 15-inch speakers if you have them, and you're done, man.
Mm-hmm. They had a unique thing that they've done and maintained all these years. Like it or hate it, it's them. I could see why they were pissed off at the early Pitch Shifter, the industrial album by Pitch Shifter, because it was like a crustier version of that, which I love that. The first two Pitch Shifter things are
fucking
love it.
Rips.
Oh God, it's so good. All right, Alan.
Yep. Yeah, good pick. Someone had to pick Godflesh. I had a couple of their albums like back in college, liked them, but it just wasn't a sound that stuck with me very long over the years. But yeah, good call for sure. Okay, this one definitely makes sense. Folks probably wouldn't think I'm the person to pick it, but sure, why? Someone's got to. Let's roar.
That's a pummeler. Yeah,
pretty. I think most folks would agree this is probably the heaviest thing in their catalog.
They're thrashiest for sure.
They're the debut has that element, and it's on this one. They've said in interviews they very much set out they wanted to make the fastest, heaviest thing imaginable, and they give it a good run for its money. The cover art is always kind of synonymous with that idea of just pummeling, one of the ways, giant megaton war machine tank thing going on there. And again, this is in the early days.
I like how the cover looks like the Rat Fink guy driving like one of those hot rods, but it's like a tank.
I think that was painted on a pizza box.
Yep, that's always been the story that Way originally painted it on a pizza box.
Amazing
cardboard, which crazy stuff. But it's it's got one. It's probably the album too that helps establish that whole blower bass sound more so than any other. The thing that stands out to me too, and I've been revisiting this album here the past couple of weeks. I just picked this up not long ago. Was that while it is obviously very very heavy, every song it's still a lot of Venom and Bathory and Motorhead worship at its core. There are buried in there though these weird quirky little moments where they're just like a couple of little notes, or one chord that doesn't quite fit with the rest of this, just flat out thrash pummeling that's going on. So there's already these little kind of hints that the band is going to do some different stuff. And those moments actually, I think, make this album, hit you a little bit harder, because if it were just all straightforward thrash, we're all kind of used to that. You could still say that, it's kicks ass and it's really heavy, but it'd be pretty straightforward. The fact that it has these weird little moments that kind of keep throwing you off, it's like, okay, I'm getting used to this, just blam, blam, blam. Then it's like, whoa, what was that? and then they bit blam, blam, blam. Oh, there's another weird moment. And it kind of just keeps fucking with your equilibrium when you're paying attention to the album. It's not enough, that you'd ever say that, oh, it's progressive or anything. That was coming, but they weren't there yet. But there are these just weird moments where you're just like, what the hell are they doing there? Why did they slip that in to the mix? So while it's kind of, kicking your ass, you're still scratching your head like, wait a second, did you really just do that? So yeah, some weird and interesting choices worked into the tracks. And I guess the bottom line is that while it's, always billed as this, just, jet black pummeling rampage, it's like 99% that, and there's like 1% of them starting to experiment with their sounds a little bit, which makes it kind of interesting. So yeah, Voivod, famously, Voivod is not a band I've ever fully connected with.
I'm shocked you bought this. I know you took a picture of it. Like, yeah,
yeah,
you sent it to me,
yeah.
and I'm like, yeah, man, the second album, brutal, crushing.
Yeah, I was like, hey, check out what's in the store. Well, it was a really good price because it is an old combat pressing. It's not the kind of thing that shows up often. I'm just like, I've been very slowly working through their catalog more, and it's really not very expensive. So it's just like, what? Fuck it. I want to take a chance and pick it up. And I have enjoyed listening to this one. It's actually stayed on the turntable quite a bit the past couple of weeks. So yeah, I'll give Roar a thumbs up. Digging this one, and it fits the bill, but it has interested me that it does have that one, just that little tiny bit of oddness about it already, even on this, second album. Obviously, album number 3 is where they start to really, go in that direction full fledged.
Now you need to get War and Pain, because that's the more Venom inspired.
Yep.
Killer.
And that may be part of it for Voivod for me too. Maybe this is the end of the discography I need to start with, and kind of, basically maybe I need to wade in from the shallow end of the pool before, going back and retrying some of the later albums. Maybe this will work better. So yeah, maybe War and Pain would be the next one I try to dig into, and then circle back to the crazier stuff that came later.
Yeah, War and Pain for sure is a lot more accessible, I think, in sound as far as like what was going on at the time, where Roar came out, and I was just like, what the fuck is going on this?
I know. It was like getting hit over the head with a bat over and over and over and over again. Yeah.
I was like, I can't tell what the fuck they're playing right now. Like,
and the lyrical, that line in it, I'm still smashing and my body's doing bad. Like
yes.
that line sizes up the whole album perfectly. I'm still smashing and my body's doing bad. Perfect.
But yeah, definitely that was a grower for me over the years. Like, I never connected with that record. It was always War and Pain, and then, on to fucking their other stuff after that.
Yeah.
Killer Technology, like that one just crushed me, man.
Yeah. I think that's the case for a lot of folks, Dennis. Just over the years, a lot of people seem to feel like Roar is, if anything, it's a little bit of a dip in the catalog.
Yeah, it was almost like they went backwards, like, and got, I don't know, man. They just, but like I said, it's a great record. It's just not something I suggest that people go into listening to Voivod and listen to Roar first. But
yeah, which is why I wasn't expecting, for it to start to click with me the way it did. Like I said, I bought it mainly because I was surprised it was an old press, and I was surprised it was really cheap, and thought, what the hell? If I don't like it, I'll give it to somebody who's VCLT.
Right. It always feels like those are just like those bands, like they feel like they're trying to find their sound, so they go from one thing to another, and then they get their sound, and then they kind of stick to that through the rest of their catalog. Kind of like Slayer, like they go from Show No Mercy to Hell Awaits to Rain and Blood and South of Heaven, and then they just kind of, okay, we're just going to do Rain and Blood and South of Heaven, do Seasons, and the rest of our catalog will just sound like that.
Yep. Like, we got there. We're comfy right here. We found our place.
Yeah. This is our sound.
It's an interesting evolution because the debut feels more primitive and organic, and this one, it's got that as well. But you could tell there's the songwriting's smoother, but it's just all guns blazing. It's just as fast as they could go, probably for the time, and it just Hell Driver. What a great song.
And they were really, I think at this point they were really into the punk type of scene, like with Dead Kennedys, Exploited, that kind of UK stuff.
Yep.
They still have a big chunk of that in the sound for sure. You're right, Dennis.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, and you're both right. It is almost like they're like, well, the debut album's a little amateurish, but we can be more amateurish. Let's go. So yeah, it's almost like they had to get a little more of it out of their system before they moved forward, maybe. But yeah, it's funny, but yeah, it works for me. So
cool.
Yay.
I'm find it amazing that is the one. That is the one. The most savage Voivod album is the one Alan's like, you know what? I like Voivod now.
We've got my toe in the door here. Now, to be fair, I've always thought Killing Technology was a pretty neat album. I've never fully wrapped my head around it, but I've always thought that one was neat. But
that's such a cool
yeah, we're going to start down here at the beginning of it.
You might maybe like War and Pain.
Camp out there for a while.
There's a lot of venom in it and shit. It's just, I don't know. You might like that one.
Yep, I can dig that. So that's I found my starting place on the map.
Right on. Hey, the gateway drug. Okay, well, I should get some sort of a kickback for showing this album on here, but this to me is as far as Pummeling.
If you show Chameleon, I'm logging off, sir.
Ass kick. No Halloween on this episode, folks. Ass kicking, just absolutely caustic, violent album. This Sadist Chemical Exposure.
Oh yeah.
I had the Sadist release. I still do, I think, copy of the cassette. But my God, man, Certain Death. What a lead off track. That is just, they rip your nuts off and throw it in a blender. That's what this album sounds like. Your nuts spinning around in a blender, getting liquefied with nails. Maybe throw some nails into the blender as well. But I love this album so much, and I like I love Swallowed in Black. And Third, I like them, but they got more progressive, more techie thrash. This is just, man, I would have liked another album just like this. Swallowed in Black could be that. It's kind of aggressive as well, but it's more, the production isn't as raw, I guess. A little smoother production. I probably had more money. But yeah, man, this thing here, if you've never heard Chemical Exposure, the DT or the Death to Posers demo, oh my God. This shit is just fucking off the charts. Violent, amazing thrash metal. Antioch, California. Am I saying that right, Dennis?
Yeah, that's same place as
Autopsy. Yep. Damn it.
Frosty brings up a good point. How can this pummel and yet be some of your mood music at this?
Oh yeah, I got my first kiss while listening to this tape in my old GMC full size V8 Blazer. Yep.
Yeah.
Nothing says teen romance like Chemical Exposure.
Yeah, as soon as I want to make out, I just put it on a Twisted Face.
Wasn't a dry panty in the vehicle.
Like, hey baby, how you doing? Let me just reach over and hit the play button on Hell Driver.
Certain Death. Oops. Yep, good times. All right, Dennis.
Holy shit.
There was a lot of room in that vehicle for activities. Anyway. It's like a living room rolling down the road. 4-wheel drive living room.
I had the Chevy Deluxe. It was like the extra long fucking bed. That was my first truck or my first car. And I had two fucking 10-inch kicker, like the portable speakers. I put them behind the seats. I had the amp. God damn, that's
awesome.
All right. Anyways, I'm gonna go with this like a fucking power violence classic here, man.
Oh
Infest.
God, yes, yeah.
No Man's Slave. Holy shit, dude! Just fucking amazing.
They still, as old fat men, they still rip these days too. You see them like live. It's just fun to watch the videos of them playing live still.
Oh my God. Just extremely fast, hardcore mixed with grind. Never lets up. Very fucking, like, I don't even know how to explain this band. They're just legends of the hardcore scene or power violence scene, whatever you want to say. But you put this on, it's probably like 20 minutes for the whole record, maybe 23 minutes. Just blasting fucking pummeling shit, man. Not going to get any faster and heavier than this band when they came out.
They're great.
obviously they inspired so many bands, probably a Suck and all those other bands as well. But yeah, man, just a classic record. Everyone needs to hear this if you like that kind of style, which I love.
Yeah, Negative Approach too for Detroit band, still doing it too, but they haven't put out anything new in 1,000 years, have they? It's weird. These old bands are still tearing it up, and they're not being productive, with new shit.
No, and I think I saw Siege maybe at one of those metal fests, maybe like 10 years ago, and they're just ripping it up too, man.
Yeah, I think Logan isn't Drop Dead putting out a new album on Relapse. I think it's coming out if it isn't this week. I don't know. Yeah. Oh, Disrupt.
Yeah, all you guys that like Nails and that kind of stuff, listen to Infest.
Oh yeah, way better, 100%. Alan.
All right. Yeah, this was a band I got into, I don't know, a year or so ago. Not that long. Radical Research did an episode on it. So, yep, shout out to Hunter and Jeff, as always. Great podcast.
Absolutely.
And you never know what the heck they're going to cover in any given week. So they've got very wide range of tastes and cover a lot of cool stuff. And I had heard of this band before. I had seen some of their albums. Just didn't look like something I was going to get into. But they did an episode on the band, and played some clips and stuff like that. And I was just immediately just like, oh crap, I got to check this out. It's really crazy sounding. The band is now out of Chicago. They're called Gigan. This is like brutal tech, psychedelic sci-fi death metal. You need every one of those adjectives to even come close to understanding Gigan. Yeah, the main guy in the band is Eric Hirschman. I think he's played with Hatebreed and some other projects. But this is his crazy lab experiment gone haywire kind of project. Very heavy stuff. Absolutely just crushes your skull. But there's all kinds of just weird effects. He's one of these guys that has like an entire wall of pedals and effects and stuff where they're trying to play that he's got to switch things up constantly. This is the debut album. What is it? Order of the False Eye. It's probably not their heaviest, but I picked this one in particular because the drum performance on this is absolutely outstanding. Is it Danny Ryan? Let me double check who drummed this one. Yeah, Danny Ryan was the drummer on this one. And it's like the dude's got, 8 limbs or something. It's constantly heavy, but always doing different things at the same time. And it just gives that extra dimension of heaviness to the music. He unfortunately passed away years ago. This was the only Gigan album he appeared on. He did a few other albums with other projects. Extremely talented drummer, and a real shame that he passed away really young. But yeah, when you hear Gigan for the first time, it really is another one of those just, what the fuck is happening kind of moments, because it's insanely heavy and fast, but it's very technical, not to the point of being boring, though. It's not like, dry and clinical or anything. And then again, it's got all these weird effects mixed in it where they'll just kind of get very spacey and trippy sounding for parts without giving up on the intensity. It's not like an Opeth situation where they play really heavy for a bit and then they have the really quiet part. They somehow managed to keep all the more outer limits sections really, really heavy as well. So crazy band. I haven't really heard anything like them before or since. It's not a genre I know very well, so maybe there are other acts that comes close to it. But yeah, I've checked out several of the Gigan albums since hearing about them on Radical Research. And again, I think they did that episode about a year and a half ago. So if you're curious about the sound, I'd recommend you go check that out on their podcasts. You'll just have to scroll back through maybe about 9 months of episodes or so to find it, maybe a little bit further. But yeah, really cool band, very interesting project. They've had several lineup shifts. They haven't made a ton of albums, but and some, again, lean a little bit heavier, some lean a little bit spacier, but they're all just very, very brutal. It's a harsh listen, but an extremely fun listen at the same time. You know, these guys are beating you to death, and you're just like, this is so cool. Keep doing it, which is a weird reaction to have. But there you go. Geigen out of Chicago.
Gotta check that out. Got a Godzilla name, so that's cool.
Right
exactly. How can you go wrong when they're named after a giant monster that Godzilla used to fight? You know it's going to be good.
He had the saw blade on his chest, right? That
He was the one with the giant saw blade in the chest. Exactly. Yep. You know your kaiju, Dennis. Extra bonus points for you.
All right. People are talking about it in the chat. Some of them lamenting the fact I made them listen to this in Album Club, but I don't know. In the Eyes of God by Today's the Day. I love this record. This thing just absolutely rips. You've got Bran. Oh my God. I can never remember their name. Bran Daler and Bill Kellier, who went on to be in Mastodon with Steve Austin. This record just absolutely rips. It's Bran, the most unleashed you'll hear Bran is super fast, super technical drumming, very obtuse riffs, and of course, I think the make or break thing here is Steve Austin's voice. People either like it or hate it. He's just kind of a scathing, screaming style. The songs on here really work for me. They're heavy and mean and twisted and demented, and I love this record. I love it. I think it's intense, and I put it on. I listened to it 3 times. I feel just utterly pummeled. Saw them a bunch during this time too live, and they were just absolutely great live too. And Temple of the Morning Star, the one that came before it too. I saw them a bunch during that time as well. But I think this is a very unique band. This is, this band came from the Amphetamine Reptile era of, which was a record label that signed a lot of noise rock. As Steve progressed with Willpower, that's still in the noise rock vein. After that, Temple of the Morning Star, more of a metal, the rock, he called it the rock, started seeping into their sound. So I mean, this is definitely a very intense, a lot of blast beats on here, just very fucking intense. Love it or hate it, man, it's so good. Paul Booth cover, the tattoo artist.
Oh, nice.
Great freaking album, man. It's just an absolute bruiser. Technical. Hearing Brand's always proven to be an amazing drummer, but it's just seeing it live, he sits there completely calm as a cucumber doing all this crazy 8-legged, 8-arm shit. Crazy. Absolutely crushing. Dennis.
Yeah, that's been folks have always carried on to the album. I cannot get into that album. I've tried several times.
I've never heard it. I've never heard that band, honestly.
I like Willpower. I like their noise rock era, and the 2 albums that came out before. I've got them all. Up to a point.
Yeah.
After
it made some waves when it came out. I remember it getting advertised a lot. It had a good push. But yeah, I checked it out when it came out. I checked it out when y'all did Album Club, and yeah, it's cool that you're into it. That's one we must disagree on that one though, sir. I cannot get into that. Today is the day.
There's no Roar in this catalog for you to get into, sir. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. You can't like them all.
Nope.
All right, man. Let's go back to some death metal. And this one just is off the fucking rails, man. Deteriorate, Rotting in Hell.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Camelot, that's some old JL America shit.
Yeah. They always had the Camelot stuff.
Yep. And these guys, man, you could tell. Look at their hair. That's fucking killer, dude.
I'm jealous.
Look at those locks.
Man, it looks like they actually they have like, Germac and shit.
They were using Pert. They got to be using Pert.
Yeah, Germac, bounce back, beautiful hair.
But oh my god, dude, this record's like fucking deicide on fucking meth. It's just fucking rips. The whole record is just brutal as fuck. That cover too. Is that blood or is that wax? I don't know what's going on. But...
Ketchup. It's ketchup. Heinz.
This record fucking rips, dude. I just listened to this again, and the riffs on this are so fucking good, and just they're so catchy. This record, like, you just put it on and you get the whole record is just over, and you're like, oh shit, dude, this fucking man, it just pummels your fucking face in. One of the best, like, I want to say second tier, but they came out after like the bigger bands and stuff like that, and you're like, I don't know what to buy today. Well, this guy's got clean teeth. Let me get that.
I mean, let's face it. The JL America bands all typically had. I mean,
Yeah.
not all of them. I mean, Mortal started out on there, didn't they? With the debut.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were distributed.
Impaled
on JL.
Nazarenes was on that. I think.
Yep, they were.
Yep.
Yeah,
But-
Norse was on JL America.
Everything
and
on JL is pretty much good. I don't really have. I mean, you got like Dead. Wait, no, that was on Grindcore.
Dead Youth.
Grindcore's another
Yeah.
label. Dead Youth was on Grindcore. Who was I thinking of? That's like not that great on JL. Maybe not. Oh, God, it's that one with the guy like hanging.
Well, that sums it up. It's like on a Primal Fear album. It's the one with the eagle on it.
That's like that guy hanging. Necro.
You've got Mortuary, Black and Images was on there. Nocturnal,
Oh,
Nothing But
Nick
Hatred.
says
It
Beharit
was
was on there.
Nocturnal. The Nocturnal.
Morpheus Descends. Yeah, Beharit was on there.
Yeah, the Nocturnal's not that great, but
Hmm.
other than that, everything else on this label is pretty legit, and it's all licensed. A lot of stuff from like other labels, the European stuff, anyways.
Excruciating
Yep.
Pain.
A lot of it was from Osmos. It's like licensed from Osmos Records, which was the Immortal and stuff like that. But man, this shit still rips. If you like Deicide sped up a little bit, you'll like this record. The vocals are insane on this too. So good.
I bet you their windmill propeller headbanging smelt really good if you're in the front row. All that hair care products.
Yeah. Viva Sassoon.
Probably had Grey Poupon on their shit and backstage. Yeah. All right, Alan, what you got?
Okay. Because it just came up, it was lower in the stack, but yeah, we'll go ahead and bring up Impaled Nazarene. Now, this is not the JL America pressing. This is a different one. But yeah, Nors. This one that I originally had the JL America pressing. I was sent a copy of it to review for a little fanzine I was writing for kind of in the late 90s. So probably got it around 96, maybe very early 97. And yeah, we've said it a few times tonight, but this really was one of those true "what the fuck am I listening to" moments when you hear
all the samples in between the songs.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not just that there's samples; it's just like the samples are the hard part to figure out because it's like, okay, yeah, you've got the song, heavy, very blasty, straightforward, pummeling, very simple lyrics. And now there's a rooster and a monkey that sound like they're fucking or something. The hell's going on here? Then yeah, you're like all the demonic sex sounds of it's like some kind of weird Dante's Inferno grotto or something. I don't know what's happening half the time, but yeah, I revisited this not long ago because I had not played it in ages, and it's fun if you're in the mood for something that is again extremely heavy, but also wacky in that they're just kind of throwing a lot of stuff at you, and some of it's going to hit and some of it's going to not hit. I don't know Impaled Nazarene's catalog, so you guys can tell me, is this typical of what they always did? Did they kind of quickly evolve out of this particular sound and style, or I don't know what came next with Impaled Nazarene. I did not get any other albums to review in subsequent years.
Urga Karma is a little bit more mature. There's not the samples between every song. They only did that the one time. Suomi, Finland, Perkala. It's got some martial industrial type stuff mixed in with the black metal. I always liked that one. And then they started getting into more of a Motorhead type black metal thing with what the hell was it called? Latex Cult.
Latex. Yeah.
And then they've just kind of been maintaining their sound. They got their own sound. They still do,
Okay. Sounds like some of that might be interesting. So I'll have to keep an eye out for at least to check it out sometime. I never avoided it for any reason. I don't come across their stuff very often, but
yeah,
I had an urge a while back to like give that one another chance. So I did. And yeah, it kind of fun to revisit it. I don't remember what kind of rating or review I gave it. I'm not even sure I ended up reviewing it at the end of the day. But I might have to try to dig around and see if I have that old issue and see what I had to say about it. Geez, almost 30 years ago now.
Don't think about it. Don't acknowledge it. Maybe
Now
it'll go
I'm
away.
sad.
Yeah.
All
right.
right. While I'm sad, Marty, go ahead and show us something that'll perk everyone back up.
Well, someone in the chat mentioned it, and it was sitting here on my pile. So, yeah, my favorite Demolition Hammer, Epidemic of Violence.
Oh, that's a cool one. I should have picked that.
The debut Tortured Existence is really good as well, but this one here they really amped up it's funny. I've said this on here before. I'm a broken record, but when we were doing the Scott Burns interview, as I was reading the Scott Burns book, I was listening to the album that they were talking about. So I would listen to a couple songs for each paragraph or whatever. It was utterly shocking how much Tortured Existence and the debut Eaten Back to Life by Cannibal Corpse sound exactly the same. Stylistically, it's got the brutal, it's like death thrash. And recorded in the same studio, it was the same music with different vocalists. I was like shocked how similar those two albums sound alike. Do an A and B comparison one of these days for funsies and tell me I'm wrong. But this here to me is just more intense. The songs they're just getting better at it at this point. I've got the one after this on tape and it wasn't very good.
Yeah, that's what Carbon Stars was just saying in the comments.
Something Time Bomb.
That album sucks, dude.
Yeah. Not good. I don't know what the hell happened. And now this is another one of those old bands that are still playing festivals. They're getting out playing, but they're not being productive. I don't get it. You got a bunch of old farts up there that can still crush on the old shit. Why aren't you putting out some new shit? You've only got 2 classics to go on. I mean, I don't know. But Sacred Reich did it, and that was kind of a swing and a miss for me. But anyway, Demolition Hammer's Epidemic of Violence. This thing is crushing, brutal death thrash. Yeah, I don't know what more to say about it. It's just really well done. Definitely,
great record.
It's like someone entered the pit with a baseball bat and they're just fucking swinging. That's what that album sounds like to me.
Yep, well said.
All right, Dennis.
All right. I guess I'll pick a thrash record too, a ripper. I'm going to go with Violence, Eternal Nightmare.
Cool.
Shit, dude. What can I say about this record? From the start, man, from Eternal Nightmare on, man, this record just goes, it doesn't stop. It does not let up. Bay Area fucking thrash, but it doesn't sound like Bay Area thrash. It has a very different sound to it. Obviously, Sean Killian's vocals are way off from whatever everybody else was doing. So you either love this band or you just don't because of the vocals.
The vocals are divisive.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
Yep.
There was no one that was like, oh, I don't like that band because they're too fast. It was always like, I don't like that band because the vocals suck.
Yeah.
You gotta love that photo on the back too, in the fucking just sitting on the fucking car. At the
Is there a more American sounding band though? And when you think of American thrash, they don't sound European at all. They sound American. They don't sound Canadian. They're just fucking Bay Area,
Right. And it just sounds like something new that was coming out at the time. And man, this album just rips, dude. It has heavy parts. The production is fucking amazing on this record.
The riffs are fucking so good, really so tricky.
Riffs are so fucking good. There's a million riffs on there. There's heavy parts. There's fast parts. It just, like I said, man, this shit's just a classic. It never gets old to me. That cover, that replica cover is so cool too. So weird. But yeah, man, fucking ripping, pummeling record from the Bay Area. Definitely one of my picks as far as thrash records go. That's right up there with Demolition Hammer for me. My favorite is the first Demolition Hammer, but I love the second one too. I love the first one because it's so fucking raw, but
it is.
Both of them rule, and they're killer live too. I don't know if you guys have seen them live.
I've just seen them live festivals on YouTube and shit, and they're great. They sound great. They're doing it.
And I saw Violence back in the day as well, but at the Stone in San Francisco. I was actually at the show where they filmed the World in a World video. They had a kid with like a helmet on with a You can see him in the video. He was really there, and I'm like, oh shit, this is cool. But yeah, man, fucking banger of a band. Great fucking
shit. Violence anymore is just Sean Killian and the Violence Players. There isn't anybody from the band original other than Sean.
Yeah, it's not like Rob Flynn's gonna do a guest appearance.
Yeah,
doesn't seem likely. No.
Right.
Yeah. All right, Alan.
Yeah.
Good
No,
pick.
that's a cool pick, Dennis. I like that Repka cover a lot too. It's his style, but it's also one I always found it's a little bit creepy, and his are usually a little bit campy, but that one's a little bit, for me as a teenager, and I found it on a used cassette at a flea market, being held in an abandoned drive-in movie theater.
What the hell is the East Coast and flea markets, man? It's crazy. All the shit you know.
Yep.
Johnny Z's shop was in a flea market, wasn't it?
Yep, that's right. Well, yeah, he started out there. But yeah, so that's how I picked up the album. I'd never heard of the band. It just looked like that's a metal thing. It's like, $1, maybe $2. So I bought it. But yeah, that covers is like, that's just a little bit disturbing. Little bit
I actually
creepy.
picked up Razor Malicious Intent on cassette at flea market as well.
Wow. Nice. Yep.
Random guy. He had all these like random cassettes, and then there's Razor. It's like, what?
Yeah, I found some decent tapes at that flea market. It was rare, but every now and then a few things would show up. I got Sodom's Persecution Mania, which was funny because it was very clear the person had bought it expecting it to be a Christian album, because all the tapes they had were Christian bands.
Really?
And then they had and then they had Sodom, and then
Christian stuff.
Yeah, what I figured out just looking at it, because it was all different styles, and basically, what they had done, they're like, oh, Sodom, it's a biblical name,
right? So
it must be a Christian band. And they probably played it once and realized this ain't a Christian band.
This isn't Christian.
It took it to the flea market to sell it to some other poor sinner, which is like, I'll take that.
Where's
off
my
your hands,
vengeance rising?
Yeah, but yeah, because they had they did have some different Christian metal bands mixed in too. Vengeance Rising wasn't one of them, but they had like Rage of Angels. I don't know. There was a few others too, but yeah, it was very clear. It was all Christian music, and that they were one of those people that bought anything that's had a Christian sounding band name. Which
funny story. Now that we're on this topic, is there used to be like some Christian like stores around, like they would sell like Christian stuff, but I would always go in there because they would have like tapes and CDs.
Oh yeah.
I would like, oh shit, I'm gonna go in there and see if they have like any metal stuff, because I think Rex Music put out a lot of stuff back then. Living Sacrifice and that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Mortification. So I was like,
they always had Mortification. Yep.
Always Mortification. So I was like, I'm gonna go in here and see if they have any Christian death metal or thrash metal. But I remember picking up some stuff there, and I think one of them was like the first Living Sacrifice record, which is really cool. A good record, actually. The thrash one. But yeah, that was weird times.
They were, yeah. I saw that Living Sacrifice at Milwaukee Metal Fest one year. They were not popular.
No, but they took it like a champ. They were doing what you're supposed to do. You're gonna why go in front of a bunch of Christians and preach to the choir? Go into the den of sin, and a bunch of Slayer and death metal and black metal fans, and people are like, Jesus sucks, and they're like, oh, it's your opinion, man.
And they just started playing the next song. They didn't. They didn't really. There's like, okay, man, whatever. Here's another song. But I had a buddy and that whenever him and I went and hit the big city record stores, we'd all just stop at the Christian store for the same reason, and get, maybe you could find every now and then you could find like Believer. I know we got some
Traction from Mortality is a great fucking album. That is a great
Believer did some cool stuff. We got some Tourniquet albums in there, I'm sure. And then they'd have they had the same kind of discount tapes stuff too.
Vengeance Rising.
Vengeance Rising. There was a band called Exalt. Another one that has a tank on the cover. Rick, I know you're still out there in the chat, so you can add Exalt to your tank list. But yeah, lots of good stuff.
You're up.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Well, everyone's doing thrash.
Oh my God, that album just crushes.
Yeah, Paramecium's Exhumed of Earth. What a great fucking record.
Ooh,
And of
That
course,
was cool.
Horde's Helig Usfart, the black metal.
yeah,
and just,
dude,
that
I was
thing
just
rips.
listening to that.
Love that record, man. It crushes.
So good.
Yeah.
It's so stupid, but it's good.
Holy unblack metal, man.
Fuck black metal. We're unblack.
Crimson Thorn, right on. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh
Crimson
yeah,
Thorn.
I remember them. Yep. I think Crimson Thorn just got reissued not long ago too.
They
Yeah,
did.
it did.
Yep.
I
Yeah,
just
I saw
picked
them,
up the Sacrament cassettes too. I picked up a couple of those.
Good deal.
Yeah.
All right. Well, since y'all have been doing thrash picks, I'll see your thrash and I'll raise you. Holy Terror's Mind Wars. Because Marty's had enough opportunities to show it if he was going to.
I talk
But,
about a lot. Someone else could talk about this fucking classic. Holy shit.
Oh yeah, and what's to say? We've discussed it many a time.
Right up there
But,
with Sadist for me.
Exactly. Yeah. And when you did Sadist, there's like, okay, if he's doing Sadist, then I'll give him another round or two to see if he does Holy Terror as a follow-up. But otherwise, I'm pulling it. Yeah, the debut is a great album, and I actually prefer the debut. But it leans a little more on the melodic side. Very catchy, good hooks. This one, still has that, but it's all cranked up to like 13. Just absolutely everything is just rapid fire, blisteringly fast. There are so many words crammed into every corner of this album. It just is about as over the top as you can get as a thrash album. If you're not going to just fall apart into just becoming like a completely underground, raw, dirty South American release from the same time period or something. As far as like something that's Bay Area ish, U.S. thrash late '80s. This is about as insane as you can get. And the Sadist
Killer
album,
singer.
yeah, killer everything in the band. The Sadist album, can stand toe to toe with it. Not a lot of others can in the thrash realms. Just absolutely mind-blowingly fast and heavy. And it's why it took me longer to connect with this album, because it is one that is just so brutal all of the time that, again, took several listens to finally be like, okay, finally I'm getting what they're doing now. But the first couple of times it just hits you over the head, and especially because I knew the debut, kind of expecting something close to that, and just like, whoa, they just lost control on this album. But no, they didn't lose control. They are very much on top of it. They know exactly what they're doing. They've just pushed it as hard as they can and made it work. And it is, it's a standout from the era.
Blows me away. Keith Dean could find a melodic strand through some of these songs. He was a great singer.
Yeah.
He plopped out, rapid fired the words, but he also found moments where he throws some melodic shit in there. It's killer, man. God, I love that. I love the album so much. So good.
Mm-hmm.
Killer
it's and you're right. He finds weird ways, to make the vocals work. And there's a lot of vocals to put into some of those songs too.
Right.
But yeah, they go by, it's one of those albums where he's singing so fast, even if you're sitting there with like the lyric insert, you're hard pressed to keep up with what the heck he's saying.
Yeah.
It's just like, wait, which line am I on? Crap, he's already like, a line and a half ahead of my eyes, just trying to scan back and forth over the lyrics sometimes.
Coke's a bad drug.
All right, Marty, I've scooped your Holy Terror pick, but let's see what you got instead.
We're going to Detroit, Michigan. Takes me back to that fest I was talking about for one of the first ever experiences of death metal, and this band, I believe, opened it. My memory's really super fucking fuzzy, but Fatal. This is a collection of their Guts for Dinner, Fatal, and Soul Burns demos, and the Somber Evocation of Nihilism EP. This band ripped. Death thrash, really well done. Good singer, good, fast, really intense. Again, seeing them. This is one of those bands I wish they got their shit and actually put out a couple records, because it would have been really interesting to see which way they went. The riffs are really good, dark, evil riffs, but still kind of thrashy. It's kind of that crossover era. What year did let me see. Oops. Yeah, the Guts for Dinner demo came out in 88. So, I mean, you're right, still in the thrash zone, right? And but they're starting to get faster, heavier. There's definitely some death metal creeping into this sound. The songs are good. They're really intense. They're a band that should have done more and went further. There seems to be a curse over the Southern Michigan bands for some reason. But yeah, Fatal. This is called Soul Burning Still, a Fatal Retrospective. I think that this CD is probably a bit harder to find these days. I don't know. This came out on Hammerheart Records from the Netherlands. Crushing. Seriously, check it out. It's not on Spotify, but check it out on YouTube Music and be
definitely
blown away. Good shit. Don't
Yep,
have any of the original demos, unfortunately, but
I got both demos and the 7-inch.
Nice. Yep.
Fucking, I always loved that band. I thought they were super underrated, in my opinion.
Very much so. And it just, it's a bummer they didn't stick it out and see what could happen,
It just had a sound to them that it was very evil type of sound.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this band they know what they're doing. Like, they know what sound they want, and they were perfect at it.
Another band from down that way, all related, is Lucifer's Hammer.
Oh yeah, dude, that thing rips too.
The Burning Church is one of my favorite demos, man. That thing is heavy as shit. But as they went on, they actually put out an album, 2 albums. One didn't get released, I don't think. But anyway, yeah, it's just like they went more Bathory, like Blood Fire Death era. Yeah, the demo, that Burning Church's demo is fucking sick. God, it's so good. And I that's a band. Every time I go downstate for a show, they opened. They're great. They're great.
Nice.
Todd, the singer, his mom was Metal Mom, Sandy Newton. She did all of the Michigan Death Fest. She was a promoter. She lived up here for a while too. I went up dinner a couple times with her and hang out, and cool woman. Did a lot of shit for Michigan, getting bands to Michigan. So very cool.
Killer.
All right, Dennis.
All right, so this is going to be a special cassette only release. That without this cassette, I probably wouldn't have picked this, because of these 2 EPs on one cassette is massively pummeling. We have Autopsy, my Fiend for Blood, and the My Dying Bride Symphonaire.
That is the weirdest kind.
That's cool.
Is that a Polish bootleg?
It's a Polish fucking boot, dude.
Yeah.
From 1992.
Yeah.
But
Steve DeGorgio and Sadis was such a beautiful thing. I wish he stayed with
dude.
him.
My god, this record, that Autopsy is so good, and the My Dying Bride is fucking fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Just massive, heavy pummeling EPs on one cassette. You can't put it, man. This is death metal, doom at its finest for me, man. I love both those EPs, and they're so fucking good. Just fucking crushing, man. I don't need to say any more about both these bands, because you guys should know both these EPs. But to have these both on one cassette, amazing. You know what? Polish people knew what they were doing.
Why did they just put the Autopsy on the cover, though? Seems like
know.
they could have sorted that out a little differently, but whatever. It's all good.
I don't know. They probably just picked the best cover. And they were like, yeah, we'll just go with this. There's more room on side too. Oh, put that My Dying Bride on.
Is the My Dying Bride cover on the inside? I'm curious. I've never seen the inside of a Polish boot. No.
Okay. Well, here's the tape.
That looks legit.
We all saw these boots, but in Poland, they weren't boots. They were just the releases, because there was no licensing of
Well, it's like Russia. I mean, remember before the war? I mean, you couldn't get on eBay without a million Russian Federation sellers.
It's not like it's just some, like, the inside's decent. It's just blue and has the logo and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's not like it's like some weird photocopy thing or anything.
They did it on the cheap because there wasn't much money to do.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, these are they're trying to get this music out to like people over there. So, And you get this sounds really good. There's some that don't sound good. I have a bath array that just sounds like it doesn't sound like it. You can hear the record when they start it recording. So you have the original Yellow Goat, and they did that record, but they just recorded the vinyl onto cassette, which is pretty cool.
Right.
You can hear all like the crackling when they start the record, which is actually pretty cool. But
Yeah.
This is fucking amazing shit. Great. Both these EPs are great. Just amazing shit. But you guys know this.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's a really cool format for them. I've never seen that particular tape.
Yeah, when you see those, I'm like, oh my god, both those on one tape. It's a no.
Peaceville wasn't even brave enough to make that union happen.
Right.
Yep. Polish were. All right, Alan.
Okay, going to dip into a weird. I'm never sure what the hell to call this one. I think it gets described as kind of industrial rock / metal. But the band didn't start out that way. The band actually started out with much more of kind of a hair metal sound. I think they were from Sweden, if I'm remembering right. Let's double check over here in one of the other tabs. Yeah, so Swedish kind of glam metal band, had their debut album, came out in the height of the hair stuff, did okay. Their second album, the follow-up, came out in October of 1991. Which was probably the single worst time in history to release a hair metal record because it's 1 month after the Black Album and it's something like 6 weeks after Nevermind and a couple of months after Pearl Jam's 10. Talk about, just if crappy time to try to release something.
The death knell was chirping.
I mean, it was none of those hair albums that came out in the fall of 91 got any attention whatsoever, except maybe Slave to the Grind. And I'm not sure if that came out in late 91 or it might have come out just a little bit earlier.
I think it was 91.
I think it was, but I think it was earlier in the year. I think it got out just early enough to still get some attention before the music, world changed. Everybody quit listening to that and, got flannel shirts and was sad all the time. But anyway, this band kind of went back, it's like, never mind, we'll be back later. Came back 2 years later with a completely different sound and look. The band I'm talking about is called Shotgun Messiah, and this is their third album called Violent New Breed.
Everything you described about this does not sound the least bit pummeling, my friend. I'm just saying.
It really doesn't. No, nothing here makes sense yet. Because again, it's a band from Sweden that's got a hair background.
Wilson nailed it too. He called it. You were going to show this. Right here it is. Before you even said it. Yeah.
I figured that's cool. Good job. I figured somebody might piece it together based on the long intro. Because this album definitely has a following. You put this on and you hit play, and this is one of these things. It's like you're just having your raw adrenaline shot directly into your brain. I'm not kidding when it just is absolutely hammering, but it still has, a decent sense of, melody. They understand how to write, hooks because they're coming from that kind of background, but there's no glam here. There are a couple of older songs, I think, that they wrote, maybe a year or two earlier, but they reworked them into songs that are just drivingly heavy. If you ever decide that you're just going to go out in a blaze of glory, hop in your car, rev it up to 140 and drive off a cliff to see how far you can fly before you crash into a canyon, this is the album I want to have playing. Without a doubt. This is,
I don't know, man. It sounds a little Thelma and Louise-ish.
I don't even have to think about it, though. It really is just, song after song after song, just nonstop, full throttle. It's extremely energetic. So it's not just trying to be heavy for the sake of heavy. It's not trying to be distorted or weird. It's just got this absolutely jackhammer sound to it that works extremely well. The weird cover picture, with it all kind of staticky, fuzzed out with one person kind of screaming into the ear of the other, really does describe what happens when you hit the play button. the only reason I ever checked this out, it was included on one of those free record store sampler cassettes they used to do in the early 90s. That different. I think it was Concrete was the one that the local record store would get a tape. I don't remember if it was monthly, maybe it was bi-monthly.
Yes,
But they would send us like a handful of copies just to give out to people, and it would have like one song, from maybe 10 new albums that were coming out. I don't think it was label centric, so it must have been like a group of labels. Maybe it was like a big company or something. What label is this on anyway? See if I can find it here. Relativity. So, yeah, and one of the songs was on here. So it's like, oh, I know that band because they put out a couple of so as hair metal went, it was not bad, but it's like, they were a hair band, and one of the songs is on that comp. Like, that's weird. They really changed styles, but I kind of liked it. So I always kept it in the back of my head until I came across the CD one day. And again, it was one of those things where it was like $2 because nobody wanted it. It's like, I'll give it a chance. And yeah, it is a long-time favorite. I'm not an industrial fan. It's okay. It's just not a style that ever really connected with me.
Doesn't get into glam enough for you.
And that's the thing. This isn't glam. They had a background in glam, but they just completely divorced themselves from that.
Right on.
Went in a completely different style. And I guess, to some sense they had to, but it was interesting. It was a real weird change. Yeah. Most, hair bands went, of course, in more the alt rock, grungy, 90s college rock direction. These guys, I guess heard Nine Inch Nails and thought, what if we played that, but about 1,000 times faster? Let's try that. And it works. And yeah, it's not well known. They broke up after the album. They got no attention, but it has a following. Some folks will pick up and know that album and be like, oh, fuck, yes, that is an absolute killer of an album. So yeah, again, don't pass it over just because of the weird name or the glam background. It is an absolute ass kicker of an album. Perfect one. It was the first thing I thought of when Dennis proposed this topic. I'm like, cool, I get to pull the Shotgun Messiah CD off the shelf for the first time in a while.
I gotta check that out.
It's a good one. Yep. So yes, that's my weird but personal fave for tonight. So over to you, Marty.
All right. Well, I don't know. I always consider this a pummeling record. This album is my favorite from this band. There's some I haven't heard. They've been at it forever, but Tankard's Chemical Invasion.
Yeah.
This thing, the first song, Total Addiction. I mean, that is just an all-on, full-on assault, man. And the whole album is just so well written. It's technical but catchy. Jerry's vocals are unique in the scene, yet still very German. I don't know. I really like the first 3 albums by this band. Morning After is really good as well. Zombie Attack is basically a little bit more heavy metal based. Thrashy still. Every song is basically the chorus, the name of the song and the chorus 4 times, which I liked when I heard it because that was the first one I heard by them actually. But this thing here upped the ante, man. It upped the ante. The songs are so much more aggressive. Kind of funny. We're sitting here, Oliver. There's a Holy Terror sticker on the wall of their practice space. It looks like. We just talked about them, but yeah, this album rules. If you've never heard Chemical Invasion, this is your starting point for Tankard. It doesn't really get much better than this. There's still been a lot of good records. I've got a handful. Picked some up a couple years ago, more recently. I can't remember the name of them. One has a fat guy hold his head down, holding an empty beer, and then the Split Face, Two Face, I think it's called.
I remember that.
They're good. They're good records. I put on like, shit, this is good. Solid. It sounds like Tankard. They really haven't rocked the boat in their style much. But this is lethal, essential Tankard. Brutal. I feel pummeled after this. It's energetic, fast, a bit of hardcore maybe mixed into the mix a bit. But yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Chemical Invasion. That's a killer fucking record. All right, Dennis.
All right, I'm probably gonna pull one you guys have never heard of, but this record fucking crushes. It's actually an EP by a band called Drowning.
Nope, don't know it.
This is these guys are from Paris, and this came out in I want to say '99. Mix of like all out war type of hardcore, mixed with integrity and I want to say like a Swedish death metal with just that crushing guitar sound and like that. Just this thing just pummels, man. Every song on this, it starts off with like I think it has like a sample. I want to say from Mad Max or Mad Max definitely has a sample in here, but oh my god, dude, this thing. You hear this thing, you're reminded of like Obituary and those type of bands, but mixed with like those kind of late '90s hardcore or metalcore, whatever you want to talk about, but overly crushing type of shit. You can tell even the dude in like the shirt has like the all out war shirt there. So really heavy pummeling stuff that just and it has a lot of rhythms too, which is cool, like Morbid Angel type rhythms as well. So man, check this out if you haven't, if you like that kind of really punch your fucking face in type of stuff. This is one of those bands, and I think this is really kind of a hard to get CD nowadays, but it's on some weird label. But luckily, I was able to pick it up back in the day, and this shit just crushes. They came out with a full length too, but man, shit is Kickback. Somebody put like I can't remember what they put. Kickback mixed with something else, but heavy stuff that you guys should check out if you like that kind of style.
Huh? You're
Really
right. I haven't heard of it.
Nope, don't know it.
I know. I got to pull some random stuff.
Yep. It wouldn't be Dennis without the bizarro shit.
Oh yeah, that's part of the fun. I mean, you got to talk about certain albums that fit the bill and people expect and want to hear us chat about. But yeah, folks want to hear us pull some oddball ones too. A Drowned and a Shotgun Messiah, something that maybe they haven't heard, gives them something to check out this weekend if they got some time to browse around online. All right. Yeah, this one fits the bill pretty nicely, I think. I've only heard a few things by this band in the past, but a bunch of their albums got reissued, I guess it was last year, and Simon started bugging me to buy them. And yeah, usually when Simon's recommending something, I've learned I need to check it out. And so but I kept telling him, I was like, I haven't got them yet. The reissues were a little expensive. He's like, oh, shut up and buy them. So I was like, no, I don't want to. I don't want to spend that much. But Simon, okay, I finally did pick some up. I actually ended up getting older pressings then, though I think somebody may have bought the new ones and dumped their older copies at the local store. So I was like, cool, I can buy all three of these.
Who buys a reissue and dumps the original? That's stupid. That's
maybe not. I don't know. I'm guessing.
You keep them both is what you normally do, or I don't know.
What kind of sick little monkey would do that? Don't answer that question. But I don't know that. I'm guessing, but regardless, I ended up getting all three I got three of their albums for the price I probably would have paid for one of the reissues. We are talking about Niflheim.
Nice.
And yep, this is the debut from '95. And again, I have a 7-inch by Niflheim. I think it's a split with Volcano, if I remember right. I haven't pulled it out in quite a while. So I've heard the band, a song here, a song there, but I never had sat down and paid a lot of attention to them, which is why Simon started yelling at me. So yeah, finally found them for the right price, picked them up. And I got to say, when people often talk about, sort of like, blackened thrash, metal, and it's supposed to have this, crazy over the top, demonic sound. A lot of times I check those bands out and I always feel like it leans too much, maybe one way or the other. It's like, well, I guess that's black metal with some thrashy riffs. Or I feel like, that's, sounds, it's just, thrash, and the only blackened thing about it are the vocals. this is what I've always thought that style should really sound like. This is where it's just, it is howlingly crazy. Almost, they're borderline out of control, constantly going 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
But they keep it in the road. They don't let it go flying off the cliff. And that's why this connected with me after a couple of spins. I'm like, yes, I get what they're doing. It's crazy sounding. It sounds like they just, are letting it all fly, but it never goes apart. They never completely lose control. It's always just barely hanging on. And that's what makes it great. Because anybody can play fast and make a bunch of noise and it just go all over the place. This does stay on target. But yeah, the vocals are absolutely over the top insane. It's all, just very straightforward, all aiming at one point. And like, okay, there's a band that gets it. That is exactly what I've always thought the best black and thrash bands should sound like. So yeah, I haven't even gotten to play the other two albums I bought yet because I've spun this one several times, and I was like, I'll get to those two eventually. But yeah, cool to pick up the Niflheim stuff. As usual, Simon was right. I am enjoying it. Just had to wait for the right time and the right price because
and Satan is wearing Hulk pants.
the garment there, I have wondered about that. I'm guessing he is, just a little sensitive about, the satyr goat legs, and
hammer don't hurt him.
Needed the hammer pants. It's very much like the horror. It's the horror of Dunwich all over again. Where the character is like 90% goat, but his face and his hands are normal, so he just has to like bundle up.
Yeah,
and every one of the
purple one. No, not the black ones. The purple ones. Those are the ones that.
Yeah, and all the just complete yokels in town are just like gee, sure is weird that kid grew up to be 6-7 feet tall in like 6 years and is constantly wearing a heavy coat in the middle of summer. I guess his family is just quirky. I'm just like, do you not think maybe you need to look into this and maybe treat it with fire? Come on, folks. But yeah, well, why the
they look like comfy,
pants?
sensible pants. I mean, if you're gonna do some squat thrusts, shit like that, you're not gonna have any binding happening.
Yeah, you got an upside down cross, and you're in the middle of summoning the Dark Lord.
Your torso is freakishly 2 times larger than your lower half.
I mean, he's lounging, man.
When your father's an unholy spawn from the outer realms. You got to wear what fits. You don't know.
I mean, he's doing his fucking sit-ups daily.
Yeah. He's working the core. There's no doubt about that. But I don't know, maybe he's got a big ass and he needs something, with some room to,
trying to de-emphasize. Yeah,
junk in the trunk. We have spent way too long analyzing the Niflheim wardrobe here.
Purple sweatpants. That there is Walmart Satan.
He's got the George Foreman sweats.
I thought that was just some kind of incense he was burning on the side, but actually it does kind of look like a grill now that you mentioned that,
Dennis. Yeah. Product placement.
Rescue us.
All right. Let's go this route. Let's go to Tampa, Florida. Let's get some Floridian death metal in here. This has always been a favorite. This has been my absolute favorite from Brutality, Screams of Anguish. I almost said Screams and Whispers. Screams of Anguish by Brutality. God, this album, perfect production. It is just so heavy and pure and clear and God, just one of the better sounding productions out of Florida for the time. And this band kind of similar to Resurrection, but I prefer Brutality. But anyway, this record is just The Sky Turns Black, good as well. Didn't need the Black Sabbath cover on it, but was there a Black Sabbath cover on that? There was. This album is perfect, just absolutely crushing, well done, well written, and brutal, pummeling Floridian death metal.
Great record.
Don't think this was recorded in. I don't know where this was recorded. Does anybody know where this was recorded without me digging into the?
Do not.
The guts. Oh, shit. Anyway, I don't know. Great album. All I know is if you have never heard this band, this is where you start. And Sky Turns Black's also good. And when they got back together, they put out some good shit as well. I have not heard their latest, but I've heard the one or two leading up to it. Good. Not as good as the debut, but solid, awesome. Check them out. Dennis.
All right.
It was recorded Morse sound. It doesn't sound Morse sound to me. I don't know. It sounds a bit more. I don't know. Anyway,
on the same kind of spectrum, we're going with this one, Gutted.
I saw them once too. They were great.
Good pick.
Wait for Us to Live, man. I bought
Catchy
this record.
as fuck record, man.
I bought this on a whim. Again, we have the weird blood that looks like some kind of thick paste, but
it's taffy.
Yeah. So this album's catchy as fuck. It's heavy
as shit, groovy, good,
groovy as shit, dude. Just dun 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 dun. Everything's like super fucking.
It's like the true blueprint of old school Midwest death metal. It's just catchy, groovy, no frills, but so well done. Catchy as fuck.
And this is on Red Light. Is that what it is? Red
Yep.
Light.
Yep.
I don't remember what else was on Red Light. I only remember like a few bands on this label.
Death Before Dismembered. What a great song. Death Before Dismembered.
Yeah, dude. There's some okay songs on this, but there's some really, really, really good songs on this.
Yeah.
And the whole record is just massive. The sound is really good. It's just immense death metal at its peak, I guess, when everything was coming together. Like, you can compare this to bands like Viogression and Resurrection.
Mm-hmm.
You just have those kind of bands that just took the Obituary blueprint and added things to it. And this is one of those bands, and this is by far one of the best recordings out of those bands. I love the Viogression as well, don't get me wrong, but this shit just fucking bangs your fucking face off. Man, if you guys haven't heard this, super catchy, brutal fucking death metal from the 90s. Definitely Pummeling. So check it out.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, Wilson mentioned the original CD's pretty hard to find and expensive. It got reissued a couple years ago, but I think even that sold out really fast.
I don't think they did enough of them.
It may be one of those cases where it just got bought out.
I think they reissued the on vinyl too, but
it is.
I don't know. I don't really buy reissues on vinyls because they just the CD press recorded on the vinyl, so it's pointless.
Yeah,
it was never released on vinyl, so what's the point?
Yeah. When that came out, it would not have gotten a vinyl release. Vinyl was not a thing at that time.
All right, for me, the Kings of Crossover. This is the band. I love this band. We're talking about The Accused. Pummeling, Maddest Stories Ever Told, and Oh Martha, my two favorites. Grinning Like an Undertaker's also good. The first two are also good. The only Accused that isn't good is the reissue, or when they got, after Blaine left, they got the bass player from Burning Witch to sing.
What?
And it just isn't
I didn't even
good.
know there was a record with that.
Yeah, it's not Blaine singing. It's a dude from Burning Witch trying to sing like Blaine, and doesn't work. Doesn't work.
I bought that one by accident.
Yeah, that's not.
Blaine did a project with Cam Lee, didn't he?
Yeah, Denial Fiend.
Yeah,
it's good. It's death metal with Blaine Fart singing on it.
Shit.
Yeah, Blaine Cook. Blaine's also in a punk band from Seattle with Duff McKagan called The Farts. I have a couple of their CDs.
Oh yeah,
that's good shit.
Good shit. And now they also had a project called Toe Tag with Blaine, and now they're doing with ex-members of The Accused. They are doing The Accused AD, which they're touring around playing shows. They just did last year before, a tour with Deceased. Blaine still sounds great. But these two records, say what you want. I know Tommy is a problem, but man, the guy can write riffs. His riffs are just so sharp. His palm muted crunching is killer. These songs, they hit really hard, and the riffs are punk adjacent, but leaning into the metal. I mean, it's a crossover band, but they're definitely coming from a metal point of view. When that band broke up, Tommy went on to do a Seattle grunge thing called Grunt Truck, which
Yep.
I don't know. I thought that shit sucked, man. It sucked.
I like that. I like that record.
I
The
didn't
first
like it.
truck is okay.
What was it
It's
called?
okay.
Push? The chick holding the
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I wanted the
It's
Accused.
not bad.
So really, you can't go wrong with jumping into the Accused catalog. The Grinning Like an Undertaker is probably their heaviest produced. It came out on Nasty Mix, which was so there's a rap song on it because it was a rap label, but it's a cool song. It's a cool song. It's a great record.
This guy, I forgot his name. Mad something. Mads. I can't remember the rapper.
Yeah. Cool cover on that one of Boris the Spider by the Who too. Very cool. I don't know. The Accused. I love this band. And their comeback album with Blaine, Oh Martha, this thing is one of the best comeback albums ever. It is so fucking good. So heavy, well produced, great riffs, great singing. God damn it. Listen to The Accused. You will not be disappointed.
Yeah. That's what I thought I was buying. I thought I was getting Oh Martha when I got the other one.
Yeah.
Oops.
No. That was you should have got a hold. Did you get a hold of me and I didn't see the text until late?
Maybe.
Yeah, because then I'm like, oh no, not that one.
Maybe.
He bought the
so this is your fault.
Yeah, when Blaine left for good, they got the guy from Burning Witch to sing.
Oh,
and it's not good. It's not great.
Yeah,
all right,
that one's in the VCLT pile for someone who wants to check it out.
It's like Dead Kennedys with whoever they got singing for him. The guy's trying to you can't be. How do you follow up Jello, man? How do you? They're like Johnny Rotten in Sex Pistols. They got a guy doing it. He's a young guy. He's good enough, but he's not Johnny Rotten. It's just shit,
As we learned last week, you do not mix Jello with napalm.
I don't mind that mix. That's not bad.
That song was horrible.
All right. You ready for this?
What about Jello with Sepultura? He was on Chaos AD too, wasn't he?
Fuck Chaos AD. All right, here we go.
Anyway, go ahead. Sorry, Dennis. Dude, that album fucking rules. That's a great record. That's the best album Members of Obituary ever played on.
You know what's fucking badass about this record is pretty much Mitch Harris pretty much wrote the whole fucking record.
Yep.
You got Trevor on vocals. Who's playing drums on this?
Is it Donald Tardy on drums?
Yeah. The dude's from Obituary. But yeah, man, this is a really good industrial metal record.
Yep, Donald Tardy on drums, Trevor Perez on vocals, Mitch
and his vocals are fucking good, dude. His vocals are actually really good.
That's a great record. I like it. Always like that record.
It's got some Ministry type stuff going on here and there. Obviously some nail bomb and shit like that, but this record kind of stands above those kind of records because it's very dark, man. This record is super dark.
Heavy programming from Mitch. Mitch did good programming on this one.
Yeah, he did programming, guitars, and I think he wrote most of the songs on this.
Yep.
But yeah, man, just a great record. If you like industrial death metal, I don't know if it's really death metal, but it kind of walks the line between death metal and standard industrial, but it's really good. If you like bands like I said, like I don't want to say Ministry because it doesn't really sound like Ministry, but it sounds like a record of its time, I guess.
It's very much influenced by that, but it's not a copy. It's more advanced. I think.
Yeah. It has its own sound.
The riffs are more advanced anyway. Yeah. And I love Land of Rape and Honey and Mine's a Terrible Thing to Taste. I love those records. Those are great records. Yeah,
of course. I'm just using that as an example, but it's different than that. It has more of a death metal and grindcore feel to it.
Yep.
It's very raw and kind of nightmarish, man. And it gets better as the record goes on. Like usually the first song is probably the best song, but for me, like this record gets better as the record gets on for me. Just killer industrial metal dark shit that just pummels your fucking head in.
Yep.
So Meat Hook Seed, check it out.
All right. Meat
I
Hook
hadn't
Seed
thought of
is a
that in
cross between
ages.
Ministry and Early Pitch Shifter. Yeah, right on. Great album. It's held up well too. It aged well.
Yeah, it doesn't. It sounds great.
Yep.
I know I haven't heard that album in over 20 years, but yeah, good pick. All right, let's see. Following up, because this interested me, Chaos AD, Jello is credited with writing lyrics for one song, but he's not. Metal Archives doesn't have him credited with vocals.
Doesn't he sing on the Bio?
He wrote the lyrics apparently for Biotech.
I think he sings on it too, doesn't he?
I don't remember hearing him, but I haven't heard that song in ages, so maybe he's in the background and I've either forgotten it
Who
or just
sings
never
on it?
picked it up.
Jello Biafra.
Does Jello Biafra
Oh.
actually sing on Biotech as Godzilla?
I think
or
he
does. He
does.
just write it?
Hold on, let me
Ooh.
look here. I don't think you're looking in the
I'm
right spot.
surprised Ice-T doesn't sing on it.
Lineup, other version, band member, guest musicians. Jello Biafra, vocals on track 7.
Oh no, okay. They've got him under vocals there. Under stuff they had him for lyrics. Oh, I do not remember him hearing
Yep.
him in that.
Oh yeah.
Weird. Okay. Again, I haven't played that album.
Biotech is Godzilla. Yeah.
Well, it obviously never bothered me,
Right.
but it also didn't make much of an impression either. Okay, here's something that did bother me for a while, but has finally made a better impression. This album always fit the pummeling category, but it kind of pummeled me in a way I didn't like until just the past year or two. Talking about Blizzard Beasts from Immortal.
Yeah.
They had been building up to this. Battles to the North was a step in this direction, I felt like. And again, this was kind of like, the last album was a little bit of like a short, sharp stick to the face. What if we made the next album a big, sharp stick to the face and kind of went overboard with it? Very, very, rough, jagged kind of production to it. The songs, just again, short, blunt, everything has always felt very choppy, very blocky. It really, just kind of pounds you. And I never connected with it much. This era of Immortal was typically my least favorite with this album and Battles. However, sometimes you kind of got to change your perspective on an album. And, so for me, this always felt like, it doesn't have, the speed and, kind of, catchiness of something like Pure Holocaust. It doesn't have the huge, big, epic world building of At the Heart of Winter. It just didn't. I can say it's not what I'm looking for. But here's another point where Radical Research did an episode just on this one album. They didn't do Immortal. They spent an entire episode with Jeff and Hunter just talking about Blizzard Beasts. And I'm just like, what in God's name do they have to talk about for 60 plus minutes about Blizzard Beasts? That's twice the length of the album, for God's sake. And it's not even good. Turned out they both really liked the album. And, I listened through the episode because I'm usually interested to hear what they say, even when it's stuff I'm not into. And somewhere in the middle, they made a couple of points, but I'm just like, that makes a lot of sense, and it had never occurred to me. And their point was that before this album, Immortal had toured Europe with Morbid Angel, and they had been hanging out with them. Apparently, got along fine. And Jeff and Hunter felt like for this album, they picked up a good dose of Morbid Angel influence in the songwriting. And it was one of those kind of eureka moments for me. I'm just like, oh, that makes some sense. Because it's got that riffing style that you hear in the first few Morbid Angel albums. So I'm like, I'm okay. I need to replay this album and let's look at it from that angle and see what I think. And it's like, yeah, okay. If you're playing this like I had been, trying to compare it to things like Pure Holocaust, At the Heart of Winter, it doesn't work at all. But when you finally realize, like, okay, this is them basically, trying to incorporate a Morbid Angel riff style into, their kind of, harsh black metal approach, now I see what they're doing, and now I can kind of appreciate it. It's still not, I don't think it's ever going to become my favorite Immortal album or anything, but I at least get what they're doing here. And as such, I can kind of enjoy it now. So yeah, kudos to, Hunter and Jeff. Just, pointing out that one little thing. Nobody had ever really mentioned that, and I had never picked up on it playing the album before. Again, it's a really grating album to listen to, even if you like it. It is very harsh sounding. But then, yeah, just being like, hey, it's actually, they're not doing this over here. They're doing this. Sometimes you just need a different perspective for some of the pieces to fall in place, and then you can kind of see the picture. So pummeling either way, but now I at least understand how they're trying to pummel me, and I'm cool with it. Get it? Cool? Because we're in Blashik.
Are you Blashik with it?
we're Blashiking, yes.
Yeah.
All right, so that's my pick for this round.
Okay, well, I've talked about this album a lot on this channel, and for good reason. One of my favorite death metal albums is a little bit of thrash in it. But yeah, this thing pummels me to this day. Cross the Sticks by Sinister. I don't care what anybody says. This is the best Sinister album. It just is. It isn't Diabolical Summoning. I'm sorry. It isn't. It isn't Hate. Hate's good. So is Diabolical Summoning. Afterburner is probably the closest to this. Really good, catchy album there. But this thing is the European fusion of thrash and death metal. And the riffs are crazy, but they somehow, even though it's super complex and a lot of shit going on, the songs are evident. You could tell that there's feel and riffs that go on in here that absolutely unique. They had their own sound. They were brutal death metal, but with a thrash spine. Mike was a great singer. It's not the same once S.O.D took over. Just isn't. But I love this freaking record. I listen to it often. Still, it just hits right. It's an air guitar record for me. It's a road trip record for me. It's a lot of things. It's just, I wish there was another one like this. And the Diabolical Summoning, they went for more of the Florida sound, which I get. It was a rising force in death metal. Europeans are probably looking to the US for that inspiration. They should have stayed with the European sound. It's just darker and better to me anyway. But Cross the Sticks by Sinister. It's absolutely crushing. It's fast. It's technical. It's everything I like from this early death metal stuff. Love it.
Yep. Well said.
My favorite album by them as well.
Right on. See?
Right,
the OGs know the good shit. Yep, here we go.
OGs know that shit.
Here's Tyler saying Diabolical. Everybody's like, ooh, Diabolical Summoning. God. Go listen to Florida. Go listen to Deicide, bro.
Yeah, listen to that fucking 6-6 whatever sanitarium or whatever that shit's called. What is that song?
What are you talking about?
The Deicide record, In Sanitarium or whatever.
Oh, Incinerate Him.
Yeah, there you go.
I agree with you. Musically, Cross the Sticks is better, but Diabolical Summoning cover art, that's a fucking sick cover. I love that Diabolical Summoning. That is a creepy fucking cover. I love that one.
Look at that skull. That is fucking sick. That is more iconic than that bullshit Diabolical Summoning cover.
I love.
Oh, that's sweet, Marty. Oh, cute.
I like the blue webs in the nose, especially.
60% of the cover is black. It's not even a full piece of. They couldn't even afford a full cover art. They bought like 1/3 of the cover art.
It highlights their pride in their logo. Look at that thing. That majestic fucking logo. There it is.
And they could have put that over like a full piece of cover art if they bought a full piece of art like a real band.
That would be a sick tramp stamp, bro. It's perfect.
I just want
kind of a saucy one too. Hey baby, how are you? Ooh, I'm Sinister.
What's on your back? Those are webs and they're blue.
Yeah. Arrows pointing down.
Looking for a good time, sailor? Well, I'm looking for something sinister. Well, here you go.
It's looking for something diabolical, but yeah, no, anyway.
We're gonna
we've
pick
taken that joke as far as it needs to go.
another banger that just doesn't let up, man. Game Over by Nuclear Assault. Oh my god, dude. When this record came out, I was like, what am I listening to right now? Because it didn't sound like anything I had ever heard. The guitars are
They got the worst guitar tone ever, but it works. It's Nuclear Assault.
Somehow it works. I don't know. It has like this weird, like it's almost like an acoustic. It has like no. It's like when you put your amp in, but don't turn any knobs up.
I gotta say, one thing that made me think of this, I did Charnel Valley with my friend S. Craig Zoller, black metal thing. I flew out to New York and we worked on a song. We walked through Times Square and rented a rehearsal space in Times Square somewhere. You walk into this little box room. There's all these fried amps on the wall and a drum set in the center. You basically plug into whichever amp works. The guitar tone I was getting out of it reminded me of Nuclear Assault's Game Over. I'm like, maybe this is where they fucking pioneered their sound. Maybe I'm playing on a Nuclear Assault amp right now. Anyway, go ahead. Very New York. Anyway, go ahead.
Exactly. Like I thought the same thing, but this record just flushes, dude.
I love it.
Like whatever they did on this is so unique, and like this record is so fucking catchy, man. And
John
like
Connolly, man, his singing, I like his pitch screaming stuff.
In hell, like the way he sings.
Ring Satan's bell. There's nothing else you can do.
God, they're so good. Vengeance is so fucking great, man. Like songs are like, even though it's like thrash, it has this crossover element to it that just like it takes it to the next level because it's so unique and pummeling, man. Like this record is just amazing, man. I never get tired of this record.
Yep.
It's timeless. This record is timeless. And there's not a lot of records that are like this. There's none really.
No.
But
there's no band that sound like Nuclear Assault. There just isn't.
No.
It doesn't. It's weird. You know, the Bay Area had the Bay Area sound. The East Coast, you got Overkill across the water in Jersey that don't sound at all like Nuclear Assault. You know, it's weird how they were so close proximity, but they weren't really cheating off the same paper. You know what I mean?
And like when this record came out, this should have sounded like S.O.D, right? You got Dan Loeffler in the band. I'm like, okay, this is going to sound like that.
Yep.
And they just didn't. They were just like, we're going to sound like this random shit.
Yeah, Nuclear Assault didn't sound like Anthrax either, and they shared the fucking guy that started Anthrax.
Right, and it just sounded so like they just had their own sound, and they're like, we're just going to come out with this. You could tell they just didn't care. They're like, this is what we're going to sound like. And that was so cool about like these 80s bands. They had like their own vision of what they weren't taking anything. They weren't like, okay, we got to sound like this to make money. They just were like, okay, we're going to sound like how we want to sound in this. And somehow it worked. And like you said, the guitar tone is so bad.
Yeah.
And the bass just fucking overrules everything on this, but it's so fucking good, man. Just amazing fucking catchy record that just never gets old, and it just pummels your fucking head in, man. Every time I listen to this record, I'm just like, okay, holds up.
Yep,
great
holds
record.
up. Survive is amazing as well as is Handled with Care. I love that record. Right? What a great record.
Those 3 records, man, just so good.
And it's funny, you listen to like the Brain Death EP that they like go on this long epic journey with acoustic guitars and shit, and then it's like it like hits that
like,
chord.
What is going on? Those EPs are so good, dude. Cross of Iron, holy shit.
Right? Yeah. God, what a fucking awesome band. Seriously.
Right.
All right, Alan.
Yep, another good call, Dennis. All right. This band definitely qualifies. It's not everybody's cup of tea, and I don't know a lot about them. Marty, y'all did one of their albums for Album Club, but I don't think it was this one. It was a TJ pick because it would have to be.
Oh, boy. Did it come with a sweater and a bald cat?
No, but it came with a clock. Portal.
Ugh.
Yeah, this is Swarf, the 2009 album, which, there's some kind of design here, but not, there we go. Got it at the right angle now. So, this band, whatever you think of them, they definitely will fit the category of pummeling. It's chaotic and dissonant and pitch black and very, very hard to make heads or tails of. And will, really leave you feeling like, something just kind of very slowly rolled over you for the past hour.
Someone cheese grated your dick for no
It-
apparent reason.
It's, yeah. Now, I will say, I mean, obviously, I liked it enough. I picked one of them up. Portal, it was one of these projects, everyone talks about it like being like, the most incomprehensible thing ever, which didn't really appeal to me, that kind of description. And I guess this is as good a point as any to throw in. I'm not really interested in something being extreme just for the sake of extremity. It's why I don't listen to like a lot of slam stuff. I don't mind if something's brutal, but it kind of needs to have some kind of point to it. If you're just trying to be brutal for the hell of it, I usually don't find you very interesting. And I kind of, the way everyone described Portal, that's what I thought they were trying to do. That was just like, let's push this so far overboard that just nobody can listen to it. Fuck that. I'm not interested. But when y'all did the album club, again, I don't think it was this album. I think it was
Ion.
Ion, yeah. I did listen, and I listened to it that week a couple times. Like, okay, this is weird. And yeah, very heavy, very crushing, very dense. But it's not bad. There's things going on in here that are interesting, but it's one of those albums that would take a long time and a lot of spins to kind of pick it apart and make some.
The payoff isn't worth the investment. And when it comes to me, it just, I like the artistic, I like the aesthetic, I like the artistic, the stage, you got the hangman, you got the guy with the clock on his head, all that shit's cool, but give me songs that I can siphon something out of and listen to. And that's if I want to listen to noise, I can pull out a noise CD and be assaulted for 20 minutes. It's the same feel for me. It's like noise with distortion and drums. I don't know.
Yeah. And no, what you said there makes a lot of sense. Is it worth the time invested to really pull this apart? For me, the jury's still kind of out. I feel like might be. I will spend some more time with it, but it's also the kind of album it's hard to play over and over again. When you play it once and just like, okay, I got through it and I noticed a few things here and there, but I don't want to hit play and listen to it again right now. Maybe in a few days, maybe next week.
Doesn't have to roll the windows down in the summer with your arm out the window doing this vibes. It doesn't. It's not the feel good summer.
You're not hanging out in the love Jeep being like, so baby, did you enjoy the movie? Let me reach over here and hit the play button.
I wasn't making out with a chick in an oversized 4-wheel drive listening to Portal. That's for damn sure.
No, definitely not. That's a sadist. That's a tender sadist kind of moment, not a Portal moment.
Sadist gets it going. Anyway.
Portal gets them hot. Not. But yeah, regardless, a very pummeling kind of band to try to listen to and decipher. Like I said, I'm interested enough to give them some more time because they weren't as incomprehensible as I thought they were going to be.
It feels very improvised to me. There's a level of improvisation. I think they return to some points that are thought pre-planned, but there's parts where they're like, Tyler here saying it looks like the guitars are going all over the fretboard. I don't know how much coordination there is there if it's just a wall of noise,
I don't know either. It's the kind of thing it could be that, they do, like you said, Mark, they may have like, okay, like every 5 minutes we go back to this one thing and in between just, go nuts. But it's also the kind of thing there might be some actual, crystal structure to, all that chaos. You just have to pick through it to find it. I don't know, but I'm going to give it I'm going to give it some more time. I'm interested enough to keep working at that one, but it felt like it was a good pick for this particular topic.
All right.
Portal. Yes, definitely a band that will, make you feel like you're trapped in a cave in.
Durno Culto. How do I feel about Wolf Eyes? I don't know if I've heard Wolf Eyes. Is that a band or a song? I don't know. I have not heard them. All right. What's this? We're doing pummeling music, not Cool in the Gang. I would rather listen to Cool in the Gang than Portal. Seriously. Oh, yes, it's late, it's night, and the feeling's right. Yeah, Cool in the Gang. I think that's Cool in the Gang.
Nice.
I could be wrong.
What just happened?
Someone said Cool in the Gang. I was giving them some Cool in the Gang. Anyway, let's get back to some old thrash. You want to call Pummeling?
You sure you don't want to get back to Cool in the Gang?
Nah, that's the only song I know by Cool in the Gang. Oh, no, that might not be true. I have to think for a minute. Anyway.
Celebration. Is
Celebration. Fuck yeah.
Come
That's
on.
for some reason I thought that was Commodores, but you're right. That's Cool in the Gang.
What you going to sing next? The Jets?
No.
Dude.
If I could sing something right now, I would sing Pray for Death by Blessed Death. This is Destined for Extinction.
Cool.
The song Pray for Death. You want to talk about pummeling, man. That guy's screaming at the top of his lungs like someone's skinning his arm while he's in the studio singing. It's absolutely killer. This is a band that didn't get a lot of love. This guy here probably sold your kid weed back in the day. He was a creepy guy in the playground going, "Hey, you got $5?" But yeah, man, this is a crushing East Coast. I think these guys were Jersey as well.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. Produced by Alex Perialis, Blessed Death, and Rob Wacko Hunter from Raven.
Yeah, dude.
Hell yeah! I wonder if he's in the production booth wearing his hockey gear. But anyway, this album is a fast, really good East Coast thrash with a vocalist. What's his name? Larry Portelli. God, he's just screamed at the top of his lungs. It's this type of screaming style that it was not sustainable. This is a band that if they went on a couple world tours, the guy would be toast at the end of them. There's no way. There's no way he could maintain the high level of screaming. But they put out
Old Bridge Militia.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Exactly. Their debut album, it's got the hands on it. I can't remember the name of it. Killer Be Killed. Yep. I got that on vinyl as well. They got this. They put out another thing after this. It did not get a wide release because this came out in 87. It was kind of the death knell for thrash, as we all know. Great band. Check this out. If you want to hear crazy vocals and really good East Coast thrash, this is a banger. Not enough people talk about it. Good shit.
Actually, almost pulled that record.
What's that?
I almost pulled that record too.
Right on. All right, Dennis, I'm going to go to the bathroom while you guys are chatting.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to pull another. I think these guys are from Jersey too. And I think I heard somebody talk about this in the chat, but we're going Blood Feast, Face Fate. EP.
Jersey.
Yep. Rick brought them up when we were talking about Nuclear Assault.
Another album club. Everybody go check that out. That album fucking rules.
Dude, this sounds like the production on this sounds like Rain and Blood for sure. I love the first record. I don't know why it's fucking sideways. Let's pull this shit up. I got this taped in here. This is I actually have the regular vinyl version, but this is a picture disc. Cool. Drew Elliott art on there. Yeah, man, this record rips. You have Face Fate, Bloodlust, which fucking rules. R.I.P. and Vampire. Such a great fucking EP, man. Just fucking nonstop. 4 songs of ultimate fucking East Coast thrash that just fucking menacing, like menacing thunder. But man, this is a great EP. Blood Feast doesn't get enough credit for sure. I think this band was like overlooked because they're on New Renaissance Records.
Yeah, everybody on New Renaissance got overlooked because New
right.
Renaissance.
Because they're on New Renaissance.
Yeah.
Everybody can come out. You got a band? We'll put you on New Renaissance.
We'll make you stars. You'll be household name. What do you mean you didn't get the copies we were supposed to send you?
I love pretty much everything on New Renaissance.
There's a lot of good stuff on that label, but yeah, apparently they just had no idea how to distribute or advertise or promote or anything.
They had so many bands. They didn't know what to do with them. They would just take every band and be like,
Camelot stocked it. Yeah. That's all that matters.
Right. They're like, hey, you're on the label now. You're going to come out on New Renaissance. But man, this record just smokes hard, pummels and smokes.
Kill for
Very,
Pleasure.
very
I
good.
mean, that Kill for Pleasure and Face Fade are the 1-2 punch, man. That's just an EP
Yeah.
there, but
You got
damn
Kill
it.
for Pleasure with the like kind of
Proto
okay,
Death. Yeah.
and then you get this with like the upped up anti Rain and Blood production.
Mm-hmm.
Just fucking banger shit, man. Check it out. Ripping, pummeling thrash.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Al.
Blood Feast, I found at a record show back in the 90s for like $3. And it's just like, that's a metal album, and I got $3.
It wasn't Chopping Block Blues, I hope.
No. It was Pleasure to Kill.
Or
Why
Kill for Pleasure.
You were trying to talk
Kill for
shit.
Pleasure.
Don't talk shit about Chopping Block. It's
Dude,
underrated.
I love that Blood Feast shit. And then my buddy bought Chopping Block Blues on tape. I'm like, fuck, a new Blood Feast. I put it on. I'm like, what the fuck? Hitler painted roses? What the fuck
That's
is
a
this?
cover song, though.
Bullshit. It's bullshit.
It's Mighty Sphincter. That's a cover
Mighty
song by
Sphincter.
Mighty Sphincter.
Yeah. Didn't like it. It was different. But I might, again, I haven't heard it. I haven't heard it since that came out. So I was so
Listen to
pissed
it
off.
again.
Yeah.
Listen to it again.
That and the fourth fucking Cryptic Slaughter album. I have to have we should in the dugout one of these nights get together, drink some beers, and listen to these.
You're gonna be like, oh shit, what the
This
fuck?
rules. I'm so stupid. Yeah.
I said the same thing. I was like, what is this? This isn't like fucking old school Face Fate Blood Feast. And I'm like, oh shit, these songs are killer. Way more intricate.
I don't believe you, but I'll give it another try.
We're doing it.
All right, Alan.
All right, let's do. We're getting a little late, but let's get at least one more hardcore in. This wouldn't necessarily count as pummeling by today's standards, but especially for its time, it was the album. And for old school fans, it's still one of them. Damaged by Black Flag. And the cover art kind of always said it all. It's a great picture. And once again, we got some fake blood going on here. Been kind of a theme tonight. But yeah, with Henry Rollins, punch in the mirror. And for this one, it does maybe take just a little while to get the album in gear. You've got to. It has a couple of their more famous songs, which are a little more sing-alongy. It's not that they're bad, but you wouldn't necessarily think of like, Six Pack or TV Party as pummeling whatsoever. But once you get past TV Party, the rest of the album really is, just, let Henry off the chain and, absolutely, just beat you down.
That's only Black Flag I own and really love. That's a good record.
Yeah, you get Thirsty and Miserable, Police Story. By the time you hit that middle of the album, they're just absolutely going for it. So yeah, and for a lot of folks, it's one of the defining albums from the early hardcore days.
Fucking great.
Yeah, I like a lot of the stuff Black Flag did before this too. I actually really like the original lineup with Keith Morris.
Yep.
First Nervous Breakdown.
Rollins is probably their best stuff, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Folks will know the Rollins stuff later, and of course, after as time went by, they got weirder and slower, and still very.
They did some weird sludge stuff, and that band is just iconic, man. They just did what they wanted to. It could be punk, it could be sludge. You just never knew what you were going to get.
Yeah. They started drawing more influence from metal, but they slowed way down. Is like, they did this, they kind of, ruled, the end, not just musically, but they really set the bar for like, DIY with the SST label, which was pretty successful for them, or relatively successful, at least, for a number of years before it got bogged down. The whole touring aesthetic, fuck it. We don't need a big promoter to line all this shit up for us. We don't, need massive venues, and we don't need to just hit big towns. They played everywhere. They played anywhere. They made it work, and they
revolutionized touring.
They inspired an entire generation. Punk, had sort of the DIY thing, but this was kind of the band that really brought that home and made everybody feel like I could actually do that too. Not just the fashion statement of earlier punk or stuff like that. It's just like, no, you just go out and make it happen. So yeah, cool stuff. And one of those albums, again, there are a couple of songs here that don't quite fit the Pummeling bill, but overall, I think Damage deserves a mention here.
All right. Well, since Alan went that way, this band is related just for the fact that Henry and Ian McKay or Mackay, however you say his name, are good friends from the DC area. Minor Threat. This is basically the Minor Threat and Out of Step, and all this is all their collected work on one CD. And this thing is pummeling, absolutely pummeling. I always loved this band. They're just really hard hitting. Super aggressive, very catchy guitar work, but they just hurl it at you, man. And Ian's voice is just pissed off, 100% pissed off. He coined the phrase straight edge. He, started a whole revolution of people that follow that ideology, which, at its core is good. It's funny. I was watching an interview with him, and during the Palehead, when he and Al Jorgensen did Palehead, which is killer. It's Ministry with Ian singing on it, essentially. He apparently drank a couple beers with Jorgensen.
What?
Just like, really? Wow.
You sure it wasn't near beer?
No, he said he had some beer with Jorgensen. So, I mean, I'm
Must've been
sure Uncle Al was a bad influence on a lot of people, but this shit is just great US hardcore. This stuff is just it blows away Black Flag for me. It blows away I almost say it blows away Dead Kennedys. I really love the first two Dead Kennedys and In God We Trust EP. I mean, that's classic. But this here is just absolutely pummeling, aggressive, sweaty club with people jumping off the stage and kicking the hell out of each other. Awesome hardcore. Classic. Could have been more. Wish it was more.
Yep.
All right, Dennis.
All right. We're getting kind of towards the end, so I got to mention this record before no one does. Exhorder, Slaughter in the Vatican.
Okay, yeah.
Dude, come on, man.
I'm not a fan.
You're not a fan?
I've got that tape. I've got the Law on CD.
Not the Law.
I struggle with the Southern sound, man. I always have. It's crazy. Anyway, it's good. I like it, but I don't love it. I don't see why people are so. I think the name of it and the cover is. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean
the bigger pull for the whole thing. Yeah,
I just love this record. It's just a banger, man. I just feel like I get what you're saying as far as like the Southern sound, but I don't hear it in this. I don't like any other Exhorder but this. This is all I like.
They went Pantera on the next one, the Law.
Well, right. Pantera went Exhorder on their next one.
Pantera ripped off Exhorder. It's a known fact.
Yeah.
But this record is just the riffs on this and the production on this. And I didn't like this record when it came out because it wasn't death metal. When they were like touring, there was always everybody like, oh, it's going to be Exhorder and Unleashed or whatever it was, because these guys were always billed with death metal bands for some reason. I don't know why. But this record is just the
label they were on, I'm sure, put them on those tours. There's nothing they can do about it.
This thing is just pummeling, man. Every song on this is just heavy and mean. Like, they knew what they wanted to do, and they said what they said on this record. After this, it's whatever, but this record just smokes. I love the production. I love the heaviness. I love the grooviness on this. But yeah, man,
that's the Southern, the groove, the Southern. That's where you get the Southern, is in that fucking groove.
It definitely has a groove to it. I'm not gonna say that it doesn't, but
I get it. I get why people like it. I've always struggled with it. I bought that fucker when it came out, and I just never fully loved it. I always reaching for Obituary or Deicide before I grabbed that one.
Yeah. I mean, but that's not what this record is.
Yeah. Same label.
This record's just thrash, and heavy thrash, brutal thrash, I guess. But for me, man, this record, it just pummels. If I'm going to talk about pummeling records, this is going to be up there. because it doesn't let up and it's heavy as shit.
Yeah,
So
that makes
I give
sense.
it that credit. Like I said, I don't like anything after this, but this record just, it has to be mentioned if you're talking about Pummeling records. And the production's really good on this. And I like the vocals. I mean, I get it. Like, you get your Anselmo, try to copy him, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
We
Rigor
all know.
Mortis and Exhorter had a big impact on Pantera.
Yeah. And he's said that over and over again. Like, he's never lied about any of this.
Mm-hmm.
He's like,
Yep.
oh, I like Exhorter, I like Gamacide, like, I want to sound like this. So change the style because we're gonna sound like this band.
Yep.
Yep.
So
Yeah, and Nick mentioned it in the chat a minute ago, but yeah, Exhorter got lumped in on like the At Death's Door. I think it's volume 1.
Yep.
That they're all, and again, it's all obituary, deicide type bands, and then Exhorter. If I remember right, even the liner notes that even mentions like, this band's not technically death metal, but they're pretty fucking heavy, so we think you'll like them.
it was for the guys that weren't not into death metal yet.
Mm-hmm.
They were just more into like the brutal thrash thing.
Yeah. I just remember the line notes being a little funny because it was like they wanted to cut people off ahead of time. Be like, look, we know it's not a pure death metal band. Don't start whining about it. It's still pretty heavy. Yeah, I like it more than Marty. I don't think I don't like it as much as you, but it's interesting. The Law, everyone shits on. The Law has one good song. I think it's the closing track on The Law, Cadence of the Dirge or something.
Yeah.
That track is a really cool.
It does have a couple good songs on it.
Yep.
And it's just like Southern sludge is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Southern sludge, like brutal thrash.
All right, Alan.
All right, let's see what to talk about next. Somebody else is going to talk about that and that, so I'll go with this. Black metal entry. This album, has always hit like a ton of bricks. It's a long album, very ferocious. It does not let up for almost a full hour. It is Slaughter Sun by Dawn.
Great album.
Yeah, we've talked about
it's long. Yeah, but
it's maybe a song too long. But even the thing is, the individual songs are pretty long. Makes for a longer album. They never really let up though. Nope. It's not like there's like long,
tremolo melody.
Yeah, there's killer melodies throughout. The drumming performance too. It really is, kind of just the cherry on top, where it just constantly batters you. It never gives these songs a minute to let up. And one of my favorite black metal albums of all time. It could be a song shorter if it's got a flaw. It is that the runtime needs to be just trimmed a bit. I don't know what song I'd take off though. There are some maybe that are a little better than others, but I don't feel like there's like, oh yeah, there's that one song that just doesn't need to be here. So this one, great sense of melody, vicious sounding vocals, and a drum beating for the ages. It all comes together really nicely on Slaughter Sun. So that will be my pick for this round.
Rules.
Sorry, I'm typing.
Nope, it's all good. Yeah, I'm no need to talk about it a lot because folks know it. We've discussed it before, but again, they can't all be shotgun messiahs pulled out of the obscure end of the shoebox.
Right.
Sometimes you just got to highlight the albums that, well and truly deserve a good fit.
Okay. Let's go to another pseudo grind on the death metal side. Love this record. My favorite from them, and that would be Inhale Exhale by Nazem. This thing is just so well produced, really well done grind with a really meaty production. Saw them during this time. They were fucking killer live. Just a great, you can tell when you have a track list that long. It's good thing is there's none of those short, the first one, this is what it's all about. This is why we play. This is why we make your day. This is it. Then like a big killer scream at the end of it. Killer intro to a great album. Always really liked this band. I like the cover, like the color scheme, the sepia. I don't know. This is a pummeling record for sure. Awesome Swedish grind. Dennis. Next
All
round,
right.
let's start doubling them up. I'm
Okay.
sure I still have a pile here.
If we're going to double,
do
I
it.
can do 2 more rounds,
Okay, cool.
which will probably be about right.
That'll
for
put
us,
us right at it. Yep.
I'll double these two. I'll do Defecation, Purity.
That's a great record. I like that
and,
record.
Napalm Death, Mentally Murdered.
The only album with Lee Dorian that I like.
The most talked about album last week that we didn't actually talk about.
We didn't talk about, yeah.
Yeah,
These
it's a
records
great one.
fucking rule.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
the back photo though of Lee. It's the best thing about this. He's like, yeah, I'm not really into this, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bill
and by the
Steers
time that
looked-
was recording coming out, I mean, I think he and Steer pretty much had one foot out the door.
Bill
Right.
Steers, it looked the same since that picture. And then Shane Embury, check out that hair helmet, man. That thing is awesome. It's a hair helmet. It's like a Darth Vader helmet without the face mask on.
It's kind of like Messiah Markland forgot to wear his robe.
Right?
But both these records fucking destroy, dude. This is probably one of my favorite EPs of all time. It has like
Killer.
the grindcore of Napalm Death, but they mix in some death metal. But it's good death metal. It's not like From Enslavement death metal. It's more grindcore death metal, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Man, this is super catchy. The breakdowns on this will fucking tear your fucking face off. They're so fucking heavy. Just amazing EP right here. Probably Napalm's best stuff besides Scum, in my opinion.
Scum,
And this
you know,
record-
we listened to we did the Napalm catalog last week with Albert Mudrain from Decibel, and I haven't listened to Scum in so long. I put it on. It's a great punk record. I was shocked how punk it is. It's way better than From Enslavement for me.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
And this record, man,
It's a great
side
record.
project with Mitch and Mick Harris.
Yep.
I mean,
Danny Loker on bass.
all you have to see is this Master shirt, and you know what this is going to sound like, because it sounds just like Master and Death Strike and Repulsion. This is just a tribute to those bands, mixed in with some more metal and grindcore stuff. But it's a tribute to those bands, and
am I wrong? Is Danny Looker does play on that, doesn't he? I think he does.
I'm not sure, honestly, dude.
Let me look up on the Oracle. Hold on.
Yeah,
I think are you thinking about Extra Hot Sauce?
I don't know. Defecation, United States. Huh. Why is it not? I spelled it wrong. How do you spell that?
2 E's, defecation.
Oh, the A. Yep. Fucking A. Why isn't it on the archives?
It is.
Oh, United States. Okay. I was thinking it was England. Purity Delusion, lineup, other staff. Dan Lilker, producer. Okay, that's what it was.
Oh, okay.
He produced
this
it.
is banger of a record. Like I said, Master, Repulsion, Death Strike, that kind of shit, and mixed with some Napalm Death. And this was before he was in Napalm Death, so Mitch was trading with Mick Harris back in the day, trading tapes and stuff like that. So, banger of a record.
Interwebs. I unlocked the key. I unlocked the information I needed, so it was successful. Simon, you fuck.
Simon always has a great way of phrasing things.
How do you spell this defecation?
How do you spell defecation? It's not. I was thinking it was UK because of Mick
Back in my day, we spelled it with an A.
Back in my day,
spell it SHIT and screw that.
Back in my day, it wasn't UK. It was known as England. All right, good pick. Good album.
Yeah, good pick on the Napalm too. Yeah, I think one thing that makes that Mentally Murdered EP rank so high for folks, it's kind of the one time you got to hear the Dorian Steer lineup lean into the death metal direction more with some songs that are a little bit longer. You know, they're obviously starting to do that on From Enslavement, but everything's still so short on that album that you you just get little snippets of it. But yeah, on Mentally Murdered, the songs have they actually get past the 3-minute mark sometimes.
Right.
So you've got a little
And
room to hear what they
they're
could do.
so fucking crunchy and heavy, man.
Yeah, it's a different production too that suits the material well. So yeah, very cool one. All right, so I'm doubling up here. We'll do one I'm into, one I'm not as into, but we'll pair them up. So Nile, and you could pick almost any Nile album. I picked In Their Darkest Shrines. Nile for me has always been that death metal band that really started towing the line towards getting almost too brutal to hold my attention. Because again, when it starts to cross a certain line into getting more slam or whatever, it's just not for me. But Nile, has grown on me the past several years. I went back, gave them another chance, and have been enjoying their catalog. I've only worked through maybe half their albums in the past 4 or 5 years, so I'm in no rush to try to digest them all. But yeah, Nile executes it really well. It's extremely heavy, like I said, right on that upper end of brutal for death metal. But there's still a lot of good musicianship. They slip a lot of technicality into it, of course, without being overly technical. And you just get, the very cool, ancient Egyptian theme, which is perfect for death metal. It's, Carl found his lane and it works really well. And, to his credit, Sanders has been quoted lots of times, pointing out that, he always felt the need to, I needed to do something a little bit different than the other bands around me. That he's like, I could have played something that sounded like Morbid Angel, but why the fuck would you listen to it? Just go listen to Morbid Angel. Don't listen to me. So he's like, I needed to find, a little different sound, because otherwise I'm just copying what somebody else already did better. So he found a cool sound and a cool aesthetic with Nile. But it is heavy as fuck. So it'll beat you down if you're not ready for it. We'll pair that with something I think is maybe just a little over the line for me, but it's a band I've never investigated in detail. I've heard stuff, but I've never spent time on it. But trying to change that because I did pick this up not long ago, just a reissue of Suffocation, Breeding the Spawn. And I'm amazed neither of you have mentioned them already. It was kind of at the bottom of the stack, so I figured somebody would cover it. I've noticed, the New York bands, they early death metal stuff, they don't lean into the thrash roots as much as maybe like, the Florida bands did. And so the Florida bands are easier for me to get into because, I started with thrash. So there's some underpinnings there that made sense. The New York bands kind of bypass some of that. There's not as much, melody here. The song structures are a bit different, which make them a little harder for me to wrap my head around. Yeah, and the band has, admitted that gave them issues back in the day. I don't remember if it was Terrence Hobbs or one of the other guys who said, like, if you look at like, the way we build our songs, we don't follow the same basic pattern as a lot of other death metal bands. And a lot of fans were always just like, what the hell are you doing? It's like, well, we build it differently. So I'm giving it a chance. This was, again, it showed up used. It was not very expensive. So I was like, sure, this is, I've been meaning to give this band a serious chance. So picked it up, but we'll see. Jury's still out. Initial thoughts are that, again, like Nile's on this side of the line where, I can still get into it. And Suffocation may be, just a little on the other side of the line where it's like, may not have quite enough things for me to latch onto to wrap my head around. I'll report back maybe on some future episode, and we'll see how far into Suffocation I can get. But definitely a band that deserves to be mentioned in terms of things. That extremely brutal pummeling sound. They've spawned God only knows how many clones that really just try to lean into nothing but the slam and brutal side of things. So Suffocation should have mentioned earlier. Shame on both of you for not doing it because y'all know a lot more about them than I do, I'm sure.
Right on. All right,
Marty, double up a couple for us here.
Okay, well, I'm going to do a 3 for here because I got a bit, and they're all album club things. So this has always been a pummeling album for me. Satiricon's Nemesis Divina. the
Nice.
band's third album. This thing that pummels you with exacting speed from Frost and tremolo bass melody lines. It's just a fan. And there's a bit of like the first song, Dawn of the New Age, very linear in the structure. So it's very pummeling just in the way they present the song to you. But man, I love this record. This is my favorite Satyricon record. It's just well produced. Sater's voice is just scathing, and the music is beautifully composed, great melody lines, but yet there's a little bit of chaoticness to some of the structure. I don't know, pummeling to the last. This thing, holy crap, Obscene Majesty by Devourment. This thing, when it gets into brutal, slammy type of death metal, this frickin' thing is a masterwork. It's twisted, evil. It's just the first time I don't know why I bought this, to be honest with you, because brutal death metal is typically last on my list. But I picked it up for some reason, and I just couldn't. My first listen to it was in a decent stereo system in a vehicle. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot to process. It's just very mean and uninviting to listen to. And they throw in a couple bass drops in it. It's like when the bass drops hit, it's like, whoa, where'd that come from? But the more you get to get into this is a very advanced brutal death metal record. It's very well written, dark. It's just fucked up. It's a great record. Made me kind of a fan of that band. And we just talked about this past Wednesday. The first Dead Brain Cells album, DBC. This has always been a punishing record for me. Listen to Lies and Power and Corruption, Public Suicide, and tell me that shit doesn't just wipe the floor up with you. It's just such a great fucking record. Yeah, band that I wish did more, had more success. I don't know. So there's 3. I have maybe another round in me if you guys want to go another one.
I got 1 round left. Yep.
All right, Dennis. All right. Do what you want. Stack them up however you want.
All right, here we go. We got to do this because it's my favorite. Suffocation, Human Waste.
Yep.
Man, the guitar tone on this, the rhythms on this, easily my favorite Suffocation.
I'm a big fan of Pierced. Pierced is my favorite from them, but it's all a lot of good shit. The Human Waste rules. It's great.
Yeah, but this thing is just nasty, and just as death metal personified. This is New York death metal personified for me. This record just fucking crushes, man. Every song on this, I hear this thing and I'm just like, oh my god, dude. Just feel like punching fucking wall when you hear this record. So fucking good. Such a banger of a record.
What's up, Eric?
We'll do some slam shit. It's not really slam, but Eternal Suffering. Drowning in Tragedy. Oh my god, dude. This thing is immense. This came out in 99, probably before slam was a thing, actually. But this thing is massive. The production on this, the rhythms on this, crushing fucking record if you want to hear some brutal death metal. Not a lot of people know about that record, but and then we'll do the Mine Rod demo.
Oh, nice.
This thing used to trade with the singer. He gave me this demo at the show, man. This shit, oh my god, it's heavy. It's heavy, it's grindy, it's crusty, and it's very I want to say like emotional, but this shit just is a banger of a demo. If you haven't heard this, check it out for sure. I think the guy I used to trade with went on to do another band. I can't remember the name, some other crusty band, but yeah, man, this shit rules.
I liked it when they went more Fields of the Nephilim too. I like that
Yeah.
whole era as well. Yeah.
This stuff's like heavy, grindy, crusty stuff from SoCal. So those are my 3 picks.
All right, Alan.
All right. Last 2 here. We'll go maybe more of a war metal direction. These, I think, ought to be in the topic. Of course, there is Blasphemy with Fallen Angel of Doom. The one thing that holds this album back for me is the production. It feels kind of flat, which is a shame. With a really loud, roaring kind of production, I think that would, give this album a lot more life. Nevertheless, yeah, I mean, it's a solid brick of an album, which you can absolutely pummel someone with a brick, no doubt. It's funny. It's one of those kind of legendary, almost like one-off things. I mean, the band's done other stuff, but everyone always goes back, to that one album over and over again. It's it's the thing for Blasphemy, and so for my money, I would production hurts it a bit. This one, kind of up there alongside it, Titan Bloods.
Alan's digging into the fucking fucking war shit.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And this one, this one I really dig. It's got that cool kind of Hellhammer early Celtic Frost influence to it, and it's not like they try to go super fast all the time or anything. Again, this is a band that kind of knows how to when to slow it down a little bit and just crush with the heaviness instead of crushing with the speed. Longer album, but it's really just the last two tracks that kind of drag out the track length a bit. Most of them is pretty short, compact songs, but then you get the last two are both like around the I want to say one's like 9 minutes and one's 12 minutes or something. Maybe a little bit long there at the end, but overall, yeah, a cool listen. And yeah, another one that just feels ultra super heavy. I don't know the rest of this band's catalog. I know Simon's mentioned before, he feels like a lot of them get kind of samey. I missed the album they put out last year, so don't know how that one turned out. But yeah, folks come back to Seven Chalices pretty regularly, and when I want something in this style, I can absolutely dig this one. So yeah, we'll wrap up with some war metal that pummels. Marty, what have you got for your last salvo here?
All right. Well, let's man, all this band's material is good except for their last comeback album, but man, I've always been really partial to Angel Corpse Hammer of Gods.
Oh, I almost picked that. Yeah.
This album, Black Solstice, Envenomed. Oh my God. Soul Flare. What a great record. Helmkamp's vocals are just scathing. It's members of Order from Chaos and Gene Pavlicki from I don't know. I'm drunk at this point. It don't matter. I don't know. I saw this band a lot during this era, and they were so good. John Longstreth on drums for at this point before he moved on to Origin and Gorguts and all the other stuff he does. Man, absolutely crushing band. Every era that I saw this band, they were absolutely devastating live. Perfect. Always great. And it's just that type of music. There's no way you can prop up this arsenal of songs and not destroy live. It's just great. Absolutely great. Always pummeled me. A recent band, Stenched, Purulence Gushing from the Coffin. Thanks to Simon covering this on Heavy Metallurgy Reviews. I'm the one that edits all the reviews. Pulled all the samples from there. I had to buy the vinyl. This thing is so heavy and catchy and pummeling. People, go watch our reviews. God damn it. We do a good job. They're up. There's a lot of them. Go check them out. 15, 20 minutes. Come on. Check them out. Anyway, the Stench record is one-man Mexican death metal, programming the drums. He does everything himself. I don't love the color scheme or the cover art on this. It's just fifth grader type stuff. But the music is heavy as shit. Dig it, 100%. And lastly, let's end with a twofer from the same band. The band's second album, False, Rise to Ruin from Gorefest. Both of these albums kick my ass. Have always. I like the debut from these guys as well. They fell off the wagon after this album, but their comeback is good. The album that came out before this is a really good comeback, but this record feels in the same vein. These two feel like companion albums to me. I don't know. It's just sad they didn't do another one after this, but absolutely crushing death metal. European, awesome, great. Favorites, 100%. Yeah, go watch it. Simon's new Jade review too. The album just dropped today.
That's a cool band. I need to pick that album up sometime. Yep.
And that is it.
Tons of cool stuff. Yep.
Yeah, lots of cool shit.
Big thanks to the chat. They've mentioned 100 albums that we did not have a chance to get around to tonight. Some that we probably should have. Yeah, Rain and Blood, we should have shown that. Somebody just mentioned, there was no Strapping Young Lad shown, which definitely could have fit the bill.
City should have been on
City,
there.
That's the one they were just like, has anyone shown this? I'm like, oddly, no. But there's tons of stuff that could, and it's been fun. We've put up as many of the comments as we could tonight, but cheers to everybody for hanging out in the chat and mentioning a ton of great stuff that, you can only show so many albums. We did our best, but y'all have called out a lot of good things too.
Dennis, you rule, my friend. It's good to see you as always. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, appreciate you taking the time to do it.
Fuck yeah, dude.
And for bringing a really cool topic. Folks have had a lot of fun with it tonight.
We've had a lot of fun. It's nice to not have to worry about really heavy duty homework, but still it's like a fun topic, it's definitely a great call on this. And it's one we could revisit. I mean, I still have a stack of shit here that I didn't show.
I do too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You could easily do a part 2 on this.
We could do a part 2 on this for sure. Albums that 100%. But anything coming up you want to? I know you said you're kind of, whenever you feel like doing the channel, nothing coming right now, and anything you want to shout out or promote before we jump?
I think I'm gonna do my next one's gonna be my US power metal video, my collection.
Fun. That'll be a killer one.
Yeah, so that's gonna be my next video. So stay tuned because it's gonna be fucking sick.
Yeah. What about you, Alan? If those of you who don't know, Let's Talk Metal is Alan's channel. Please go over there and subscribe. He's every Tuesday.
Yep.
You can set a clock to him, 6 in the morning or whatever the hell crazy
6:45 a.m. because reasons.
What's coming up next week?
Let's see. This past Tuesday, I put up a video that covered the Jag Panzer discography.
Yep.
So not just Ample Destruction, but actually looking at all their albums. And really nice conversations in the comments over there. Folks pointing out different things about different albums and such. Don't know which video I will pull out of the hat for this Tuesday. I've got a bunch that are pre-recorded, ready to go. And I don't post, I don't plug them into YouTube very far ahead, because sometimes somebody will run a sort of like a call out, things like, hey, I'd like to see people respond to this topic or that topic. So I don't like to.
Melanie just did that to us, and I don't know if I'm going to get to it, but she just.
Oh, did she? I haven't seen it. So okay, see, and that's exactly why I don't want to always post things too early, because then I'm like, I do only one video a week. So if I put something up and then I see Melanie's things, like, damn it, now I got to wait another week to respond to it. So maybe I'll check out Melanie's video first and see if I can put together a response. And if not, I'll pull something out of the pre-baked bag, and we'll go with that next week instead.
Yeah. And as far as heavy metallurgy, next week, the album club, I don't even, Kvelder, Slif, I don't know. The album club, I don't know what the hell Logan picked. I have no idea. I'm going to have to ask him again because I don't remember. It's something with a K from Norway. Black and roll type shit. No idea.
Black and roll.
Yeah, black and roll. And
okay.
I'm sure there'll be a review next week. I know I need to sit down and do one. I haven't had my ass in the hot seat in a minute. But next Friday, we're doing the thrash bracket with Melanie, Simon, and Jim from the album club. So
that's right.
You thought the death metal bracket pissed you off? I'm sure the thrash bracket will piss you off. Jim is already pissed. He knows something's gonna piss him off on it. It's funny.
Yes, that's going to be with 5 of us on the panel. We thought 5 might be more fun. We had a great time doing the death metal bracket with Patrick with 3, but it did create a lot of scenarios where it was like 2 people vote for this, 1 person votes for that. So we kept, 2 versus 1, 2 versus 1. We figure with 5 people, that's going to, create a little more diversity there. You could have like 2 people vote for the same album, and then the next 3 could vote for the other one and overturn it. So should be pretty fun, but we are going to limit it to 32 albums instead of 64 albums since 5 people have to weigh in. And this time I think the plan is to allow the Discord to pick the 32 albums that get plugged into the randomizer.
We need to figure that out because I don't know how that's going to work. Trying to harvest all that information. We'll see.
Get somebody like Mike Villain or somebody else who's active in the Discord just kind of oversee it and let folks pull it together. But
old thrash only, none of the new shit. It's all old thrash.
It will be old thrash, but beyond that, there's no restrictions. It can be debut albums, classic albums, Bay Area bands, German bands. Throw it all in the blender, and we'll see who comes out on top next week. It's basically like with 32 albums, we'll have 31 keeper reap pairs that are all based on classic thrash. So yeah, should be fun, and we expect to get yelled at a lot.
Well, we're gonna try to have Tyler's making a good point. The Discord group providing the list. Good luck sorting that out. We're gonna approach this. We'll figure this out.
Yeah,
we'll figure this out. If it's chaos, if it's fucking chaos, yeah, homie's gonna just pull the trump card and do.
If whatever, it doesn't come together, it's okay. But yeah, we wanted to try to give the Discord folks a chance to participate in it because we appreciate them hanging out over there and posting fun stuff. So, and that way nobody could yell at us for albums that didn't get included in the pool of 32.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, we'll see. So hopefully that'll work out.
It'll be fun. It's the people are pissed off about the death metal brackets, but you know what? It's not law. It's a discussion. It's a discussion and a debate. That's what it's all about.
Brackets are for fun, and only everybody except one loses at the end of the night. That's what happens with a bracket.
Yeah, 100%. And with only picking 30 some, there's gonna be a ton of shit that should have been on it but isn't on it. It's just it's a fun discussion. That's just it, and we'll go from there. But everybody, you all rule. Cheers. There's been a lot of stuff this week. Go check out Simon's Jade review that dropped Wednesday. Go check out our album club that we did, Dead Brain Cells self-titled versus Dead Brain Cells Universe. Which album won? Go check it out. That happened Wednesday, and we'll see you next week. A lot of shit going on. Go check out Analog Archives. Please go subscribe to his channel. Let's get this guy to 4,000 subscribers. 4,000. Yep. Cheers, everybody. We'll see you later. Have a great one. We appreciate you.
Cheers, man. It's been fun.
See you, everybody.